What's up? What's up? What's up? Come on in. Let me make sure we good with this, man. Let me get my headphones. Check me up in the headphones. Here we go. Let me make sure I'm good. Let's get it going. Welcome on into the Barbershop. It's your boy G Bush. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on Twitter, and you watching the Barbershop on a glorious Saturday morning. I hope you and yours are out here thankful. I'm thankful for y'all pulling up on me. I'm thankful for this great day because we gonna have a great show as usually. And first and foremost, let me go ahead and show y'all and let y'all know what we on. I told you, listen, when you sipping and you got to sip in a specific way, we live. Here, you got to sip in style. You see what it is. You see what we working with. When you sipping on the haters, when you drinking your Kool-Aid, when you got the Kool-Aid got to have the wrist up now, man. Listen, you see what it is. The Kool-Aid Mafia is in the building. Yes, indeed. I told you we weren't going to play with you. Wrist up at all times. The Kool-Aid Mafia is back. We got a lot to get to today. Here's how we're going to start this thing off. Now, usually I would come on here and, I'll give you that sermon on a Saturday. But today, we got to get scientific with it. We got to get scientific and surgical like we always do. We got to let them know why it is. I told you guys, this is why people pull up here. I ain't been wrong. I told you that people would rather talk about narratives than any football. The game has become gossip and tabloids. This is the New York Post. Don't say anything about, I don't want to get sued for the New York Post. Allegedly, I'm just saying your stories are sometimes a little crazy. They're out there a little bit, my opinion. But this is getting like the tabloids. This week, in the world of sports, the Cleveland Browns come off a victory where Myles Garrett was dominant. The Cleveland Browns come off a victory where Shedeur Sanders did something that no other quarterback has done in almost 25, 30 years, which is win his first game as a starter. Your rookies accounted for basically all of your yards passing and all of your yards rushing. And the Cleveland Browns were, if you look at this game, were dominant from start to finish. Might I add, they beat the team that y'all told us the quarterback over there, the backup, Kenny Pickett, was the guy. So how big of a lie that was. Shedeur Sanders came out here and did what he was supposed to do. And I've made my media runs all over the place, right? I've been on UCSS this week. I was on with Quincy this week. Shout out to the interview. Go check it out. It was an hour long. We kind of talked about some of these things. We were on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We was talking about some of the same stuff with people asking the questions. And I told you this from Jump Street. How is it that we talking about the field? We talking about what's today. We talking about what's going on and what we need to do to get better and get more wins and get more victories. And we sitting around talking about whose fan base is doing what. What is the Shedeur fan base doing? Why are they saying this? Why? And now it's to a point that we can't even get to the games. It's Tuesday, Wednesday. We're not even talking about the games. Because I told you, for a lot of people, it wasn't about the evaluation. And it's still not about the evaluation. It's still not about winning football games. It is about the narrative stuff and trying to figure out what's right in front of your face. So I'm going to give it to you right here in the barbershop. You ask yourself all the time, why is the media peddling in these narratives when he's playing on the football field? Let's keep it football. He can't do it. I'd argue that you can't do it. I'd argue that nobody can do it. The reason people peddle in narratives, and they continue to talk about whether his fan base is going crazy and why do they always say this and why do they always say that, is because it's a lack of understanding, a lack of experience, and a lack of meaning. We're going to break it all down. So I need you to get your thinking caps on today. It's not going to be, actually, it might be entertaining too. I'm just saying, you know how I do. I'm going to figure out a way to wrap that up. The Kool-Aid Mafia is back. G. Bush is back. The Browns got a huge game against the 49ers. Coming up later on the show, we're going to continue to let you know why this is a pivotal show. Because like other people, I will break this game down, and I'm going to tell you why exactly the San Francisco 49ers game has another opportunity to catapult this team and to put them in a different perspective. And if they win this game, oh, it's going to be some uncomfortable folks. Oh, it's going to be uncomfortable. You thought it was uncomfortable now? You done already seen the flip a little bit. But there's some people, we'll talk about this as well. Oh, there's some people that's hedging their bets. We need to see Dylan Gabriel again. Who said we need to see more Dylan Gabriel? What? Who? You trying to start trouble, in the words of Shedeur Sanders. You just trying to be slick. We're gonna come back and get to all that right here on the most electrifying show on a Saturday morning. It is the Barbershop. Come on in. Let's get right off into this thing. We gonna get it popping early and often. I need to know where all my chat folks at. Where are the members at? Put the ones up. If you're a YouTube member, I need to see you tapping in. Hit that one in the chat and let's get it going. Hit that one in the chat. Say, yeah, we here, G. Bush. Where all them barbershop fellas at, and all the ladies and the uncles and aunties. Where the CU aunties, where the uncles at? We need to throw that shit. Let's start this thing off good. Get your coffee ready. Get your tea ready. Because we're going to get into it. Early. Now, let me explain something, too. For y'all that's new to the channel. For y'all that's new to the channel. I'm going to just speak this out here because, you know, sometimes we get new followers and stuff. We get new people that pull up to the channel. And we get people, right now I'm streaming right now on UCSS, right? Right now I'm streaming on the Barbershop, right? So a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll pull up on me and they'll say, G. Bush, I saw you on such and such platform over here. And I saw you over here. And somebody said this, and you didn't stop them. Somebody said this opinion and you didn't say this. Are you switching? Are you? Well, I don't like your code switching. You're supposed to. Let me tell you something. Like I always said. See, in life, you can only speak for yourself. And sometimes y'all better realize that you can't die on every hill. Sometimes you got to realize some people's opinion is going to be their opinion. And I'm not the judge, jury, and executor of all opinions. See, what you could do is, when somebody has an opinion you don't agree with, hold them accountable for it. You don't like the opinion, state the reason why and talk about it. But for me, it's a new season. The season is, you want to know what G. Bush think? You come over here and hear what I got to think. In real time, I'm going to tell you how I feel about certain things. But it ain't got to be a debate about it all the time. It don't got to be a debate. It don't got to be contentious. See, what I like to do is I like to set my game up. I like to get over here. And I like to set my game up and have my complete thoughts. I don't want half-baked thoughts because I'm a person who likes to bring receipts. And when I bring receipts, I like to have it well thought of. I like to have it ready to go. I like to have it to a point where people can understand exactly what I'm talking about and what I'm saying. So you got a runway to understand it. If I'm on another platform, if I'm on over here and I got 4.5 minutes to get my time out, or I got 6.5 minutes to talk what I'm talking about, it's a topic we got to get to. That ain't what I'm about. See, I call this educational. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to educate you, I'm going to entertain you, and I'm going to inform you. And to do that, sometimes you need a runway. Sometimes you need to formulate. See, this ain't this is a slow burn. This ain't no get rich quick scheme. This ain't a multi-level marketing. It ain't a pyramid scheme. Over here, there's a foundation based in, let me show you how this really works. And today is going to be a prime example of that. Because this week, Shedeur Sanders is in the media again. He's not in the media because he's handing out turkeys. He's not in the media because he's giving a car to a single mom. Shout out to him for doing that. He's not in the media. By the way, I would keep it a buck too. Shout out to Deshaun Watson. He was giving out turkeys this week too. Shout out to a lot of these other Browns players. Shout out to Jared Allen. Shout out to Evan Mobley. See, sometimes we be wanting to get on them, but we ain't talking about what they really doing. So this week, we all had it. You'll go check out the clip I had before on the Barbershop. Somebody asked Shedeur Sanders, what does he say for all of his supporters who feel Kevin Stefanski was trying to sabotage him? And Shedeur said, you just trying to start trouble. No, I'm not trying to start trouble. I thought that was a fair question. If you thought that was a fair question, then you don't understand a couple of things. You don't understand, and you have no clue in what you are here to ask and what you are here to get to anyway. If you waited all day after this opportunity, and I got one question to ask Shedeur Sanders about this upcoming game, his play, what's going on, and you ask him about anonymous, stereotypical group of people, like he controls those folks. See, that's the part that we get when we talk about collective identity. They do it a lot too. Just because I'm Black does not mean that I represent every Black person. I do my best to understand that certain people think that way and to uphold myself in a way that reflects positively on people who come from my culture. I understand that. But I'm not a representation of every Black person in the world. And sometimes when you ask these questions, you're not thinking, he's like, what do you mean? I don't know those people. I'm appreciative. You've said it multiple times. I am appreciative for every supporter that I have. I'm appreciative, whether it's the president of the United States or somebody who just likes that was, follow me in Colorado. I'm appreciative. But you act like I can control what they say. And that is another problem we got. We've always had this thing. And this is why we talk about culture. Because you feel that we one or two represent everybody. We the only culture that have that. Right? They'll say, oh, listen, you guys are represented by Martin Luther King. Okay? You guys are represented by the Honorable Mr. Farrakhan, right? Or they'll say you're represented by Jesse Jackson, or you're represented by Obama, or you're represented by Jay-Z or Beyonce. You're represented by LeBron or Michael Jordan or Magic Johnson. In our culture, we got 4, 5, 6 people that they deem the leader, and then put all of the weight on their shoulders as if those people speak specifically for everyone. They sometimes do it over here. I'm like, I don't speak for everybody. As a matter of fact, when you come on my platform, I encourage you to have your own thought process and understand what we talking about and formulate your own opinion. I'm the only person that has no problem going back and forth with people on my platform at all. Whether that's somebody who don't agree with what I'm saying, I don't silence people. I read super chats all the time with people that don't agree with me. But you say this. Let's get G. Bush, what you saying. Those narrative-based ideas are not just based in what the media is talking about with Shedeur Sanders. I'm gonna get to the root of it, and it's scientific. See, people need narratives to fill in the gaps because sometimes it's a lack of understanding and it's a lack of experience and it's a lack of, hey, I don't understand the meaning. I don't understand this right here. I don't understand the culture. I don't understand the music. I don't understand none of that. I thought this was crazy. Take a look at this video. Take a look at this video. I think it'll be find it very fascinating.
And he wrote about this concept of Erickson described.
All right, here we go.
There's this.
Make sure we get all this. Let me take this down so you guys can see. Let me take it down so you can see. Which camera? Oh, there we go. Here we go.
There's this famous developmental psychologist named Erik Erikson, and he wrote about this concept of identity. And Erikson described it as this kind of pattern in the brain that gives your life a sense of purpose and unity and integrates your past, present, and imagined future. And like, okay, that all sounds good, but like, what is it? And maybe a few months later, I'm still thinking about this problem, this question, and I'm thinking, well, maybe it's a story. They integrate past, present, future in the sense of beginning, middle, end. Maybe people are walking around with stories in their heads about how they came to be, where their lives are going, and these stories are partly based on fact, and they're shaped by culture and all that kind of thing, but they're also made up a little bit. And we start to work on the story in our teenage years, maybe early 20s. We continue to work on it throughout our lives. We're all authors creating meaning in our lives through narratives.
That is fascinating. I'm gonna run that back for you. Notice what he said. As humans, we are using stories and narratives to shape the way that we perceive and view life. It starts at an early age in your teenage years as you form your identity of who you are. And then there's the outside noise, which is what other people are seeing in reality. And then there's the internal voice. And that internal voice, you shape. And you shape it because you are trying to find meaning everywhere else in context, beginning, middle, and end. And if you think about it, which is so pivotal when you talk about the narrative and how people think. Yes, it's based in facts partly, but for the most part, it's in your head. It's in here. And when you have that idea of, oh, I'm walking around making my own meaning to what this means. So do you understand why if Shedeur Sanders has a backwards hat on, where does that come from? Why is Shedeur Sanders having a backwards hat different? Maybe, listen, here we go. Why is that different from Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger? What is the connotation between Shedeur Sanders being a young African-American quarterback having a backwards hat when all the other quarterbacks got him? That's why you start to see these narratives where you're like, hold on, where did you get that at? Run it back. Run this back. We got to get it. I want you to make sure you get
There's
this.
this famous developmental psychologist named Erik Erikson, and he wrote about this concept of identity. And Erikson described it as this kind of pattern in the brain that gives your life a sense of purpose and unity and integrates your past, present, and imagined future. And like, okay, that all sounds good, but like, what is it? And maybe a few months later, I'm still thinking about this problem, this question, and I'm thinking, well, maybe it's a story. They integrate past, present, future in the sense of beginning, middle, end. Maybe people are walking around with stories in their heads about how they came to be, where their lives are going, and these stories are partly based on fact, and they're shaped by culture and all that kind of thing, but they're also made up a little bit. And we start to work on the story in our teenage years, maybe early 20s. We continue to work on it throughout our lives. We're all authors creating meaning in our lives through narratives.
Again, we just get into it. So now we got that basis. So now the context. Let's continue on. Now the context is now, when you see people do that, are they asking the questions to get a real answer? Or are they asking the questions to get meaning? Or to fill in the gaps of what the falsehood is that they've already believed in their life? Let's continue.
It's about being, are you trapped in a story that's not yours? Let's uncover why. One of the unfortunate parts about being human is the need for a story. Stories handed down by our ancestors taught us how to survive, who we are, and how to make sense of the chaos. Our brains crave them, even when life gets messy, but here's why it's unfortunate. The narrative fallacy. We impose structure on random events, creating a false sense of understanding. Life is unpredictable, shaped by randomness, but we see patterns where they don't exist. Second, narratives constrain our freedom. You create a story for yourself, and suddenly you're stuck playing a role. And third, they can make us unhappy. We build expectations, and when reality doesn't match, disappointment hits hard, but we can't escape our need for narratives. In work, relationships, and life, stories are essential. If you don't control your own narrative, others will. Craft a story that enhances your freedom, not restricts it. Don't get storied. Take charge of your story.
That's the problem people have. The problem people have with Shedeur Sanders is his perceived arrogance, his perceived this. It's not about whether or not he's cocky. It's the fact that he had the audacity to take back his narrative. He had the audacity to define what he is instead of letting you define him. He had the nerve to say and push back and say, this is who I am unapologetically, and I will refuse to live in somebody else's fabricated story of what life is supposed to be like. And the problem is, you see a lot of people that are angry and upset. You say, why are you angry? When you say this, why are you mad that he got people that support him? Why you ain't got no problem with when people is running around here supporting every politician they want? You said you got the right to vote for who you want, right? But you mad because folks won't. What you talking about? See, but that's the thing. If you create the rule system it's okay for me to do it, but it's not okay for you to do it. It's okay for me to blindly follow this person and blindly do this and do that. But guess what? It ain't for you. We create stories because it gives us a comfort level. It is the exact same reason why it seems like they cannot let go of narratives that have already been disproven. Albert Breer was on a radio show. He said there was all of these rumors out here about Shedeur Sanders not riding the team bus. Put a 1 in the chat if you heard that. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough sledding to AG Bush. You kicking. He said Shedeur Sanders, there was rumors acting as if he was so uppity and so big time that guess what? He didn't ride the bus. And like all astute people out there that rocked or watched Shedeur Sanders, that watch Shedeur Sanders, they came back and clapped back with multiple clips and footage of Shedeur Sanders on the bus with his team, operating with his teammates, and his brother is taking the footage. Now, that, sir, I'm going to be honest with you. It's not an opinion. That was a lie. I told you the internet lives and we see it, understand it. You keep thinking this is why this is devious. Because think about this. Think about this. If there was nobody who was doing that, calling it out, people would just get away with it and keep doing it. If there was nobody saying, hold on, this is documented. How you gonna say this? And this is the biggest lie in the world. It's documented, it's on tape. And this is the problem that I have with most people, and a lot of people is you done ate at the table so long that you literally believe that you are the truth. You believe that whatever I say in my mind, in my narrative and fabricated life, that is the reality. Because I said so. And we are the ones that dictate what goes on. We are the ones who dictate what's written. We are the ones who dictate what happened and what I write. And I might be in a mood. But let me just get back to it. G. Bush, who are your sources? Who are your sources, G. Bush? All them damn people that was sitting on the sidelines saying that was the best throw I done seen. Who are your sources, G. Bush? Tell us your sources. All the people that said, oh man, that was one of the greatest throws I done seen. All of the people, who are your sources that say they want to play? Oh, it's the cafeteria ladies. Who told you he's working hard? The people that said he was running around with his iPad. Now all of a sudden the stories is, oh, well, he got hungry dogs. You didn't say nothing about hungry dogs when he wasn't getting no reps. You could have stepped right in front of that, couldn't you? When they say Kevin Stefanski is working with him 2 hours a day before and after practice, nobody said nothing about that when y'all was assassinating his character, saying he wasn't no good and wasn't working hard. And the insinuation was he was cognitively slow. He's just not ready. But the dude that's out here playing terrible is ready. Why? Because you said so? That's the dangerous part about it. This is what? 2025? If you catching people in 2025 blatantly lying about stuff that's already documented on camera, what the heck do you think they did in 1965, 1971, 1986, 1992? What was people doing and writing when there was no checks and balances, when nobody was pushing back, when nobody was doing it, when no diversity? What do you think they were writing and getting away with back then? But we supposed to believe that, hey, Boy Scouts honor. They're all journalists would never This is the biggest lie I've ever said. You act like you think that just because you say you're a journalist, that means that everybody is righteous and upright and they ain't got no bias, ain't got no leaning nature, ain't got no visceral, like they don't do stuff. Like they not, come on, bro. I done see people at the highest level of society, priests, politicians, presidents, congressmen, police officer, fall into corruption. And you tell me, because we in the same thing, why would somebody say something unfair? Do you think that they would? But the question is this. I'm giving you scientific facts. Don't tell me what you're talking about. Because I could go back and, because I'm trying to figure out in my mind, I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand. Let me answer this question. Do we really think Kevin Stefanski has a disdain for Shedeur Sanders? The way people pose that question and what we're getting at today is the way you pose that question has no nuance. It has no analysis. And I'm not saying you specifically, but when people ask that rhetorical question, it's to denote that Kevin Stefanski in life does not have a preference. Every human being has a preference. Do you like chocolate? Do you like strawberry or vanilla ice cream? Your preference in your partner. Do you prefer someone to be taller or shorter? Athletic or a little meat on their bone? Whether that person is an analytic person or whether they are emoting. Everybody has an internal preference. So no, does Kevin Stefanski have to necessarily hate Shedeur Sanders? No. But it'd be foolish and stupid to not think that the person that he drafted, that he sees more eye to eye with, the person who he feels the skill set is different, the person who he says, I feel like I could work better with, do you think, I keep asking you, do you think every single person, when you go in a job interview and you got a list of 5 candidates, do you think that the job picks the most qualified candidate every time? Of course you would say no. But what you're trying to do is take and separate sports from life. When sports is more of life than anything that we got an example of. Do you think that in corporate America, you make it to the top because you're the most hardworking? Do you make it to the top because you're the smartest? You have the most character, the most integrity? You're the most innovative? No. I'd say all of those traits account for maybe 25% of the game plan. 75% of the game plan is who you know. Can you shape shift and move around? Do you know how to make people comfortable? Do you know how to play the game? Do you know what the written and unwritten rules are? And specifically, who likes you? Who sees eye to eye with you? Do you have the same hobbies? Do you have the same background? Do you speak the same language? Did you go to the same college? Huh? I've been in the interviews. Both guys are equally smart. Am I more likely to pick the person that I feel easier to communicate with in practice, communicate in the office, understand the game, come from the same different places, same fraternity or sorority? Our parents grew up in the same city. It's all human nature. But we diminished it and broke it down to the lowest common denominator. If I say I'm putting my name and reputation, if I say I did hiring, writing manuals about hiring and interviewing. I've even done interview questions. I've done the interview questions. And the interview questions are not based on whether or not you're smarter than the next guy. And if I go to a person and say, you know what, I'm vouching for, I want that person on my team. You know what my superior above me gonna say? Well, I wouldn't pick that person, but since you said you wanted them, that means you're putting your name on the line. And the only reason I'm trusting that person is because you put your name on the line. So Dylan Gabriel is Kevin Stefanski's handpicked quarterback in the 3rd round. And we've established nobody else had that grade on him. Why would you not think he's going to give him every opportunity to do what he's going to do? Because his name is attached to it. His reputation is attached to it. His evaluation eye is attached to it. His entire coaching philosophy is attached to that player. But you're missing the point because you're boiling it down to the lowest common denominator. And life ain't about black and white. Well, sometimes it is. It's shades of gray. Let's continue on with the I promise we going somewhere. Stick with me. So when you ask yourself this, A lot of narratives are about control. Can I control what people believe and think are happening? Watch what this conversation say.
Human beings are, one of the things that we should know, and Kenny G should know, is that human beings are attracted to easy to digest and understand narratives because they explain the world around us. We don't want to believe, human beings, you and I and anybody, we don't want to believe that the world is a chaotic
We're
place.
infatuated with the premise of having control.
Yes, exactly. And control and understanding, those two things go hand in hand.
Yeah.
If we understand how everything works out there, then we have a better chance of controlling those things, and there's less chaos in our lives, and we feel more secure. And so that sort of narrative-driven thing is very appealing to people. And those that would exercise control know that if they can spin a great narrative, they can control maybe a vast majority of people, maybe a slim majority, but a majority of people.
Listen to what I'm putting down. Understand it. Listen. Sometimes you just got to get the nature of it. You see what he said? If I could spin a narrative and understanding go hand in hand. They don't understand it. That's why when I tell people all the time, they say, why is diversity an issue? Because if you're never forced to go out of your comfort zone to communicate with people who don't think, act, and look like you atrophy. You become a person who can't think critically. You become a person who can't think outside of themselves or their own area, their own city, their own club. You can't think objectively. You can't even go about coming at this topic and even fathoming that somebody else thinks a different way. That somebody else has long hair or cornrows or locks. Or the fact that they listen to a certain type of music, or the fact that they communicate a certain way, or the fact that I want you to answer the question the way I want you to answer the question because it makes me comfortable because that's the way I'm used to people communicating. Boy, if you don't get up out of here. See, sometimes you got to call it what it is. We don't care about no regular people. See, sometimes people exercise control and they forget that they are regular. They forget that they haven't done nothing. They forget that they ain't played the game. They forget that they ain't faster, stronger, smarter, more agile, hardworking, or overall have a level of concepts of what's going on. But we have told people, regular people, because we've included regular people, that those regular people's ideas and thoughts are higher to the people that actually have done it and dedicated their lives to it. My comfort zone is bigger than facts. My comfort zone and narrative is bigger than whatever we're talking about today. And when people can't say, I don't understand the thing about Shedeur fans, no, you don't understand that why people is pushing back on you and they never used to do it. You just don't understand. Why am I receiving so much pushback on the things that I've always done? Well, you're getting called on it now. It's a new day. You just can't write what you want and just leave it alone. You can't say what you want and just dip out. You can't just say little innuendos and lies. He wasn't on the team bus. How, Albert? How? His brother does it. His brother owns them. They own a media company. He follows him literally with a camera every single day. And the fact that you felt it was good or okay to say he ain't on the team bus is wild work. But before, it was all about who stamped you. You got stamped by this organization, so you're an insider. Stop. Guess what? Those insider days are done. Let it sink in, people. One more time.
Human beings are, one of the things that we should know, and Kenny G should know, is that human beings are attracted to easy to digest and understand narratives. Because,
in other words, they're lazy. Tell me what I should think about this, because I don't want to do the homework to understand it. I don't even want to take my, you ever notice those people? Why do we even have to talk about Shedeur Sanders? Why do we have to talk about the 5th round quarterback? It's your job. If you don't want to talk about the quarterback, go work at Giant Eagle. Go be a firefighter. Go work on Wall Street. You'll never have to talk about Shedeur Sanders.
they explain the world around us. We don't want to believe, human beings, you and I and anybody, we don't want to believe that the world is a chaotic
We're
place.
infatuated with the premise of having control.
Yes, exactly. And control and understanding. Those two things go hand in hand.
Yeah.
If we understand how everything works out there, then we have a better chance of controlling those things, and there's less chaos in our lives, and we feel more secure. And so that sort of narrative-driven thing is very appealing to people. And those that would exercise control know that if they can spin a great narrative, they can control maybe a vast majority of people, maybe a slim majority, but a majority of people.
And you know what I find funny with that? The person who started all these vast narratives is Brian Dable and the New York Giants. Look where he's at. Unemployment line. For a person who always wants to talk, for people that's talking about the behavior and etiquette, for people that's talking about the etiquette of how you're supposed to act in an interview and how you're supposed to conduct yourself, maybe you should have been talking to yourself when you was trying to put somebody that was concussed back in the football. See, this is why you can't have nice things. Maybe if you stop going after Jackson Dart in the tent, maybe you start running after him in the tent and let that man go through the concussion protocol. Maybe you might have kept a job. See, but that's the thing. It's funny how people start with all these narratives and they the first one out. Probably shouldn't have believed what he was talking about to start with. We just starting. We just cooking. We just cooking. Don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it. We still cooking. Speaking of, let me get to a couple super chats. Let me get to some of them right now. Salute G. Bush, Shedeur. Timothy Sanders is quietly silencing the haters. With this game this week and battling the elements, double wrist up. Let me tell you something. We're going to get to it later. J-Mac Too Fresh. We got that coming up later. This is a pivotal game. Because just like I said, we're going to talk about, because what I would like to do is I would like to get all this narrative conversation out of the game so we can get to what really counts, and that's on that football field. And by the way, you're going to see the energy and excitement level around the country dipping up. Because the Cleveland Browns against this team, they stripped the medals away and said, oh my gosh, I told you they was going to do it. It's just Las Vegas. They're terrible. Man, listen, I'm going to take a win against any team. I don't care. They in the NFL. They said the same thing about the Miami Dolphins when we beat them. And guess what? The Miami Dolphins then went on to smash the Bills and a bunch of other teams that they shouldn't have been playing. That's an old tale too. It's that revisionist history. You beat a team, oh, they really wasn't that good. After you found out that they lost some other games, turns out they weren't really good. You don't get extra points for beating good teams or bad teams. You get extra points for winning, period. DK1028, Shedeur from Dallas. Most of us new fans are Cowboys fans, and we sip a lot of Kool-Aid. They're going to learn today, G. Bush. We here, dog, get used to it. That's another thing. I told people that this is a little uncomfortable for people out there. The uncomfortable nature is this. A new fan base, a new group of people, always, when you get new people into the mix, some people get a little nervous because we've had a monopoly on being the lovable losers. See, when you bad for so long, the only thing we got to hold us together is our foolish pride, our hope, and the fact that we Browns fan can identify with losing and misery. So when you get a lot of new people coming in that say, listen, I'm just here to watch this. Look, I like this young quarterback. It's people who watch this channel that are Cardinals fans, Ravens fans, Steelers fans, Cowboys fans, Eagles fans, 49ers fans, from all over walks of life. And when they come into the base and say, I'm trying to tap in, and they watching the Browns games, people get uncomfortable with that because they feel like we've been here since day one. We got a monopoly on that. And that's another thing that pushes the us versus them. It's the Shedorians. I don't even like calling them that. It's fans, right? Mac Dog. We've all been passed over, but we just keep climbing. Every man needs a chance and an opportunity, and when you get it, you gonna shine. I think that Sanders will show his talent and become an NFL quarterback one. I think some of the things that we've seen and why you seeing some of the narrative is change. Even from doing content like this, people will be like, yo, why do you talk about Shedeur Sanders so much? Why do you just talk about that? Why? I said, bro, it's the most important story that we got. It impacts the organization at the highest level. If you're talking about you need a quarterback, and we've needed a quarterback for 50 years since Bernie Kosar, why would I not talk about a quarterback I think has the potential to be a franchise quarterback? Why would I not talk about his first start? Why would I not talk about seeing what he could do from week to week so that we could build a team to win? But then again, some people ain't in it to win. And that's the coldest thing that I got in my life. The coldest thing the cold reality that came around was this. There's a lot of people that don't be into winning. They just into doing what they want to do. I'm gonna play with people I identify with. Winning is either collateral damage or just unintended consequences of how I'm moving. I'll take the wins, but I ain't gonna try to win at all costs. Father of many nations, 629. Thank you for the super chat. Let's keep Shedeur and his family in prayers. We keep everybody in them prayers. Earl the Pearl, have a great show, bro. What's up, chat? Earl the Pearl, make sure y'all go tap in with Earl the Pearl Saturday mornings. Brother over there, as always. Neil Gray, 3023. YJ wants Shedeur to be blitzed more by the Raiders, but he didn't have the same energy following Dillon versus the Pats. He's satisfied with the win in his progression. Let me tell you, we're going to get to that too. We'll get to, because I've heard a lot of people say this. The reason we do film over here is so that people can actually see what's going on. And the narrative from the naked eye that the Raiders didn't blitz him is false. We showed let me know if I'm lying, chat. We showed multiple times with 7 guys at the line of scrimmage. The touchdown that he threw to Isaiah Bond, there was 7 dudes up there. 2 came free. He eluded the pressure and threw a rope. See, when also, they brought all them people up there. He hit the screen pass. Remember what I've been saying. Get the ball out quick. If you miss a tackle and you blitz it in 0 coverage, he's gone. That's what they did. On the contrary, the Raiders did blitz him. He just made them pay for it. And the premise is, I'm not sitting here trying to help the Raiders out anyway. They dumb selves. I don't care if they didn't blitz. That's on them, stupid. My job is to root for the Cleveland Browns. I don't care if they come out and play with 10 people. The Raiders played with 9 people. I don't know why they didn't play with 11. Psst. Child, please. I'm going to get to go ahead. My job is to talk about them. Eric W., 23 Atlanta. Shedeur is in now and it's on. That's all we ask. This is a 12-year plan. Thank you, G. Bush. See, I was on with Quincy the other day, and I told him the same thing. I told him the same thing. That's all people wanted. They wanted the opportunity. They wanted the chance. And when you got that chance, I've always said on here, what would keep you on the field is that chance and what you do on the field. But let's move along and talk about the most ridiculous take thus far. The media questions show a lack of complete cultural understanding. So the new thing now is, since Shedeur Sanders is good in playing and looking like he's the starting quarterback, all of a sudden, the roles done switched. You say, what are you talking about? People are insinuating that Shedeur Sanders should go out of his way to shoot down outside noise about him not liking Shedeur Sanders and vice versa. And that the narrative that Shedeur was set up for failure is a narrative and it's not true, and Shedeur should put it to bed. I find that very funny. Actually, I find it hilarious. Let me tell you why I find it hilarious. Because when we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, and they asked him point blank, period, Daryl Ryder asked him, what are your thoughts on Shedeur Sanders and his progress? Kevin Stefanski said, I'm interested in now. I'm worried about getting ready for these games. Okay. When Mary Kay asks, where's Shedeur? How is he coming along? All of our young players are coming along. We're doing everything we can to get our young players ready to go behind the scenes. Man couldn't even say his name. Wouldn't he was non-committal. After every game, they asked him, Kevin, who's your starter? Dylan's our starter. No qualms, no shakes, no nothing. Dylan's the starter. Shedeur, get up there. We got to figure it out. Kevin, they moved Joe Flacco. Is Shedeur going to be the backup? I don't know. We'll discuss that coming up later this week. Well, who you going to put in? Zap? Kevin, Shedeur won the game. What are your thoughts? He's going to be the quarterback. You know, we'll evaluate that. So let me get this straight. You can, as Kevin Stefanski, be non-committal. You don't really say his name. You don't really, you're not on the record saying none of that. But all of a sudden now, Shedeur Sanders gets in, plays, looks like, okay, he's doing his thing. After you said that if he didn't play well, he was never playing again. And we'll get to it. People still insinuating that we got to see Dylan Gabriel. But now all of a sudden, it's up to Shedeur Sanders to block the perception that Kevin Stefanski set him up for sabotage. So that's his job now. He should have just put it to bed. What happened to them just not putting to bed that Shedeur Sanders wasn't a distraction or didn't know how to throw the football or didn't understand playbooks or wasn't really working hard behind the scenes? When did they ever come out and displace that? When did they not come out and say he's just a fifth round pick? He's just a fifth. When did they say no? Let me tell you, we excited to have Shedeur because we got the steal of the draft. When did they say that? When was the time where they said, oh, let me just tell you about this guy been working extremely hard? Actually, I had to show you that Myles Garrett said he's one of the first dudes in. He's in the coach's office all the time. But we still had people coming up, sitting here around here telling me that it was laziness. He didn't want to put the work in. It's documented. Don't backslide now. We done did it for 6 months. But now all of a sudden the burden is on Shedeur Sanders to protect a grown man, Kevin Stefanski, that was your 2-time coach of the year. When he's vulnerable, when he's catching some flack, when people are telling you, oh, you didn't develop him, you didn't give him the reps. Now he looking good. Now now it's kumbaya. And you want him to what? Just let me stand. He's not no human shield. I just thought y'all didn't want him to say nothing. When Rex Ryan was talking, you said, you know what? You shouldn't be miming nothing to Rex Ryan. Why you even listening to the outside noise anyway? And we said, you know what? Don't even worry about it. Block all that out. Matter of fact, they asked you a question, move right along. Now, you want to ask a question. You said that was ridiculous. That was terrible. You just trying to start stuff. That was a valid question. Next question. Get up out of here. Next question. Well, what's your relationship with Kevin? What do you mean what's my relationship? He my coach. But you want me now to stand in no, sir. No, sir. I'm going to continue to worry about what's going on with the San Francisco 49ers, and we need to be talking about what this team needs to do to get a win. See, the problem is, I told you this would happen. The more he plays better, the more he plays, and if he continues to look better, they're going to be in a very awkward position. And that awkward position is, how do you reconcile two things? How do you reconcile that you really weren't playing him like that, right? And then now, if he does play well, it's not going to be under Kevin Stefanski's tutelage. It's not going to be under his playbook. He's figuring it out with Tommy Rees. So you're figuring out, how am I going to give this credit to Kevin Stefanski? How do we wiggle you back into the mix? How do we control the narrative? That's ludicrous. Why would his coach not want him? Goes back to what I told you. See, behind the scenes, whoever picked him is the person who gets the credit. I done tried to tell y'all this. Let me see if y'all catching what I'm putting down. Let me see if I'm catching what you're putting down right now. Why every time Shedeur Sanders be playing, you be seeing Andrew Berry around? She showed be dapping him up strong. Something, brother. That's what I'm talking about. You know how when you be hype, you dap somebody up. That's what I'm talking about. You keep doing that. Just keep putting on. They don't even know. You be talking loud, but you be talking through your teeth. No. You be blinking all fast. You be crying out of one eye. I'm talking about. Been about that. About that life. Why every time he be playing, he was in Carolina. You noticed? They ain't never paying. Why? I never saw the owner in the press box and JW in the press box and Andrew Berry in the press box when Dylan was playing. I'm just trying to figure it out. Whoever drafted him gonna get the credit. And I keep trying to tell you, I was the one that said there was a separation between church and state. See, it's all fair love and war. It's all good when you was winning. It's all good when you got and you pushing. I don't think he has the power like that no more, to be honest with you. Because now they begging Shedeur Sanders to come out and have a vote of confidence. Don't that seem like a power shift? It's ironic. Don't you think that's kind of a power shift a little bit, where you went from not specifically even saying his name to now reporters are asking him, could you put the rumors to bed about any friction or him setting you up? When did that become a thing that that means the perception is that he has that power and ability? I love what he told him, though. I don't control them. And he don't. Let you know. They got their own mind. We are not a hive mind. There's some people that's going to feel the way they're going to feel. And they're going to be on you because you told them something that wasn't true. You said it was a competition, and then it turned out to be a lie. Nobody told you to offer the lie. You just said it. And because you haven't been held accountable before, you thought that this group of people was still going to let you get that off, and they don't. And they're reminding you in real time. And if he continues to play good week after week after week after week, if he puts the string of things together, you're going to start to see that uncomfortable nature continue to play out, because you can't have two things. You can't have the last 6 months of what happened and then turn around and say, we developed him. No, you didn't, my good sir. He was who he was when he got here, because you weren't even trying to give him the opportunity. The only reason, and here's how you know, the only reason Shedeur Sanders even got a chance to play was the fact that Dylan Gabriel was in the concussion protocol. And Kevin Stefanski said if he passed protocol, then he would not be, he's going right back to starting. But sometimes you play so well. And my boys and girls, that leads us to talking about whether or not this game, this pivotal game, could be, it's a shifter. We'll get to the 49ers game in here in a second, but we get to a couple super chats. Let me take this down. Let's take this down. There we go. That halftime sports says Shedeur Sanders, revenge tour. Keep doing your thing, G. Bush. You know what the best revenge is? Numbers, wins. The best revenge tour is your teammates, and I love this demeanor. I love this demeanor because the demeanor was, I'm trying to do everything that I can to get my team together. I'm here to talk about my teammates and what we need to do. And I'm not resting on my laurels. I said this about 3-4 days ago. I don't see what the big deal is, because everybody who's watched Shedeur Sanders play, we've been in a situation where we thought this was the highest level we've ever, like, come on, bro. I've seen him throw for 500 yards in a game. In his first game coming from Jackson State. 500. And 4 touchdowns. I've seen him throw for 400. Like, again, this ain't a nice little story. We believe that this guy can legitimately be a franchise quarterback. But if you just now Johnny come lately and you believe what everybody else tell you, and you don't watch no college football, you ain't been enthralled into the tape, then you think this is just a nice story. But that goes to show you there are a lot of people that are in this business that are there and they're naive and ignorant to what's going on. They're not taking the time to do the research or the homework. And that's also another reason why they have blind spots when we talk about certain things. DK128. We're all the YouTube making DG YouTube's making DG videos. Because when he was the starter, they couldn't stop making videos on 12. This ain't never even about football. Facts. It's not about football. This is about your perception of what Shedeur Sanders is and ain't. It's the exact same reason why we sit here and we're having a conversation about his supporters, when we should be talking about the defensive line. We should talk about what's going on with the Browns. What's going on? What did he do last week? What do you think you're going to do to improve? What are things to get involved with Jerry Jeudy? Hey, what kind of game plan do we got this week? But we can't stop ourselves from pandering at the trough of narrative work. I'm not about to ask about. Listen, I love all the supporters. I love that. But if I got one question to ask, I'm not going to ask no rhetorical question about something that's made up and mythical that you said or somebody outside said. Because it's never been about the football games. That's why when they win, we get to the week and they start being like, well, Vegas is bad. Well, I want to see him. I want to see him open it up a little bit. What are you talking about? I just seen this man throw a bomb off his back foot. I seen 2 chunk plays that are more than any other plays this entire year. And you're talking about they want to open it up more and we got to see? Bro, you're lying to yourself. How you going to say that? But I'm convinced. Let me tell you this. Let me ask y'all something. And I want a truthful answer. How is it that you can make these assessments and all you do is watch the game like other civilians? Let me ask you, this is a serious question. How can you make an evaluation if you don't even break down film or know anything about it? I'm just going to ask a basic question. How could you make any sweeping judgments on anything based on the fact that you sit there and you watch the game just like everybody else at home? Now, if you just everybody at home, that's fine, because you ain't getting paid to do this. But I'm asking the people that's getting paid, people that's got followers, people that's got microphones and platforms and big opinions. How is it that you can have an informed opinion about something and you don't know the basics of what you're talking about? I just don't understand. I don't get that for the life of me. Like, I just don't understand it. Patty Lee, hey, G. Bush, does the media know that Shedeur fans don't give a rat's ass about what they think about us? Listen. Yeah, I think they got the message loud and clear. Because I keep trying, like every time somebody will say something, they just get so frustrated. Why? For what? Watch how this works. Watch this. And I'm gonna give you 2 examples. When Tim Tebow was playing, and Tim Tebow was going viral, and everybody was talking about Tim Tebow, I was breaking stuff down. I talk about Tim Tebow and what he can do as a quarterback, mechanically, structurally, what he does good and what he does bad. You can't find me nowhere on the internet where I'm sitting here talking about I can't stand Tim Tebow supporters. I can't stand people that run around and talk about God all the time. And I just don't, I want to get away from it. You ain't going to find that, because frankly, that don't sink to me. That don't hit me. That's not important to me. My decision and my understanding of what Tim Tebow is about is based on what Tim Tebow do in the field. So my question is, why? And I'm trying to figure it out. Well, I told you with the narrative-based stuff. But at the time, I'm trying to figure out, like, why is everybody, why is this a problem? Why are you arguing with people who like to watch another person play? And then it dawned on me. Comes back to control. And people do not like to be out of control. But the Shedeur fans, they ain't worry about y'all. You don't really have a bear. That's the funny thing. They don't have a bearing on your life. Like, Shedeur fans is, I don't care if you say don't talk about him, whatever. They're gonna do what they're gonna do. Swanson Family Farm. You're doing great work this morning. Social scientist G. Bush, thank you so much. I appreciate you. A lot of what I try to bring to the table is not just emotional nature. It's not just football. I try to be a well-rounded individual that give you some context to what I'm seeing. And so when people ask these questions, it's not about whether or not it's a fair question. It's about why do they do this? And giving meaning to those out there who ask the same question, like-minded people. I always wanted to know what makes us tick, what makes us react the way we do, what makes us go, what makes us popular or negative, or it's all based in the human nature. It's all based in social sciences. But then again, I try to bring that to the table. I try to be that. That's what I try to do. That's why that when people say, "Oh man, it's kind of hard," I can't talk to G. Bush because he rambles so much. And then some people in the comment section will tell him, "Well, you just don't understand what he's saying. You just don't get it." There has to be, if you're gonna listen to the Barbershop, you gotta have a baseline of knowledge. You gotta read some stuff. You gotta be diverse. You gotta understand. I try to talk about math, history, science, social sciences, finance, marketing, human nature. We try to do all that. And we appreciate those who understand and those who support that. Chantel Marie G. Bush, I would really wonder who actually picked Shedeur. Can you imagine if he beats the Niners, beats the Titans, what the organization would think? Wonder what Jimmy Haslam. I tell you what Jimmy Haslam is thinking. Thank you, Chantel, so much. This is why I love when people ask stuff, because it gives you another train of thought. Chantel, let me tell you what's going on. As a businessman, let me ask y'all this. Jimmy Haslam is a businessman. He's a businessman. Jimmy Haslam is running a company, and he has people in positions to make certain decisions. Paul D. Podesta was one of the big main people who was making decisions, and they told him to get to walking. Because he looked around in his organization and he said, I got Dylan Gabriel playing. Who picked him? He don't look like, when you got Dylan Gabriel starting games for you and your peers and your fellow owners is coming out. Understand this. As a billionaire owner, you are one of 32 elite people in the world, right? And when you are competitive, and I know all billionaires are competitive, because if they didn't, they wouldn't be where they are today. If you were one of those billionaires, the only thing that you have that's a one-up or something that you can say I'm the best at is you can say, I got the most money. But guess what? After you get $1 billion, you all got the most money. What's the difference between $1 billion and $1.5 billion? Nothing. You can still buy anything you want at any time. You're all owners. But the thing that hits different is, are you winning? See, Jerry Jones got Dak Prescott. Look around. You think Irsay and the Colts, right? Irsay and the Colts, he passed away. His daughter took over. And they got 9 wins, 10, 11 wins. Huh? Lamar Jackson and them, Josh Allen. You look around from place to place to place to place to place, and they got quarterbacks. And you sit, you go into the games and you watching, and you got to watch Dylan Gabriel compared to Josh Allen. You think they don't get under your skin a little bit? Because you want to win. Or at least you want to be entertaining. You think you want to turn on the 4 o'clock game all the time and see these other quarterbacks and teams balling? Primetime games on Amazon Prime and Monday Night Football and Thanksgiving, your team ain't never in the spotlight. Your team ain't never mentioned. As a matter of fact, when you had Deshaun Watson, everybody hated your team, even your fan base. So when you are sitting here and you got a stadium opening, you trying to sell licensing, you trying to sell, you trying to get your stadium going, you trying to get bids for the Super Bowl, and here comes in a person who Kendrick Perkins says is more famous than Obama, and Shedeur Sanders. He has a diverse fan base. His fan base crosses all cultures, all races, all demographics. Then the whole president is screaming and shouting his name. You think this is why everybody is so short and narrow-minded. Y'all got to get out and live a little bit. You think a person of that magnitude with that type of backing has already shown you his jersey is what it is, has already been in England with his poster, huge as London Bridge. He already got a Nike deal. You think that the owner is going to say, give me Ty Simpson. Give me Mendoza. Even if these dudes can play, as a billionaire, you ask yourself, hey, I just saw this kid play and he looks good. Even if it's a tie, even if Mendoza or Ty Simpson are as equal as in his game, if they got the same skill set, they'll never be as popular. Ever. Never. You're not as popular as Beyonce. You're never going to be as popular as Taylor Swift. You're never going to be as popular as Elvis. You're never going to be as popular as Michael Jackson. It is what it is. You could be a great artist, but you're just not getting there. And the calculus from any owner, any rich person is this. If he actually play, you know how many tickets I could sell? You know how many stadiums I could fill up? You know how many times I'm going to be in prime time? You know how many jerseys we going to sell? You know how many eyeballs? If you want to become a global brand, what is the easiest way to do it? Drafting a guy named Mendoza or Ty Simpson? Or pushing your chips in on a guy that might actually be able to play in the 5th round, that got a made-up crazy story, who's one of the most famous people in the world? Remember what I told you about identity? Remember I told you what our understanding and how it works? Well, Chantel, the part that people don't get is he feels he's sitting on a gold mine. Why do you think they haven't traded him? Why do you think they traded Joe Flacco? Why do you think Kenny Pickett got moved? Why do you think Andrew Berry is sitting there and they're panning and showing him? Because they know it too. But you guys, you're under the illusion You know what? The quarterback's in 26. And they telling you that bag is in 25. The bag is right before us. Why would you not go get you 2-3 receivers and some linemen and be like, yeah, we're gonna give you all the reps in the offseason, not reps with the support cast and the trash cans. We're gonna give you an actual runway. Because if he performs against the San Francisco 49ers and is actually a good team, then what are we talking about? You see it. Because if he beat the Niners and he beat the Titans, what will the organization think? Oh, we got something. We got something. We just kicking it. GB, Royce Medina's. GB, what does Shedeur need to realistically do to have a shot to win tomorrow? Our offense isn't good. However, our defense is lights out. Plus, now it's on tape. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Which brings me to my thesis. What do we need to do? We need, and I think Sean King did a really good job of saying this. What a quarterback needs to do is he needs to understand what you need to do in that time to understand what you need to do to beat this team. And it's like putting together a puzzle. It's putting together a jigsaw puzzle with a timer. I was just playing with my niece the other day, and my niece, we play these little games, and so she's 4. So, you know, they have these games on TV where they can, you know, have puzzles, and you take the pieces and move it around on the video game to make the complete picture. She does great. She was balling when the timer wasn't off, right? But you move up in age groups, right? So she was in the 3 to 4 age. She's 4 years old. We moved it to the 5 and 6. She was balling. I'm like, oh, you smart girl. Look how you putting that puzzle together like this. We went to the 7 to 8 year olds, and you know what they added? They added a timer. And you saw her mentality was like, hold on, what is this panic in my stomach? Whoa, why am I frustrated all of a sudden? Now I said, stay calm, Zara. You got this, girl. You got it. Don't just remember that timer is there to give you urgency, but you got to stay calm. Stay calm. You got to focus in and don't worry about the timer. And after about 3 or 4 times, she progressively got better because the timer, she started getting used to the fastness. She started to get used to the pressure. She started getting used to, oh, this is the timer. Let me concentrate on finishing the puzzle without doing the rest of this stuff. The timer will take care of itself. And she eventually got to a point where she was putting them together at these puzzles on a video game in a 7 to 8 year old range. But you see, it's the same thing with Shedeur Sanders. When you go through and you need a level of experience, right? And you need to mature quickly. The same way I put Zara in the game and she was doing her thing in 3 to 4 age groups and then 5 to 6. And then we jumped her to 7 to 8. That's the progression in how fast he got to progress. He got to get to it under 3 games. So now he played a half. You see the progression, right? So he looks out with Las Vegas. He's able to move. He didn't take very many sacks. He only took 1 sack. He threw the ball off platform. He looked more comfortable with the blitz. The speed of the game was better. Now when we get to the San Francisco 49ers, understand the puzzle going to switch up a little bit. Puzzle will switch up a little bit. So now they may say, we might not necessarily blitz you. What we're going to do is how about we have people up there but drop off in the coverage. Now let's understand where you need to go with the football. So now what he can work on, and what I think the keys to the game is understanding where your outlet pass is in inclement weather and getting the ball to your guys in open space and make them tackle. See, I'm talking football now. We ain't even emotional. Make them tackle. Harold Fanning in traffic. It's okay to get him the football, because when you are running and you're doing things in a little windy area, maybe wet track, and maybe a little snowy, a little mix, you don't want to live 25 to 30 yards downfield. You're going to have to live maybe 5 to 10 yard field down the field a few times. But make sure that in inclement weather, they got to tackle Quinshon Judkins. They have to tackle Harold Fanning Jr. They got to make the move. See, when you got weather, the offense has the advantage because the offense knows where they are going. They understand what the assignment is. And sometimes when you have bad weather, it's crazy because you are reacting to what they're doing. So for me, for our defense, understand that this track is a little muddy. Understand that you got one of the best football players in the game in Myles Garrett, and you may get the ball in their own territory. You may get a couple strip sacks. You may force some pressure. Understand in these type games, you need 7s, not 3s. 7s, not 3s. If you get 7s and you make them go against that defense, which they have the advantage there, you put them in a position where they can't just run back and come back all willy-nilly and easy. Put the pressure on them. Start fast so that your playbook can reflect the fact that you got the lead and you got time. And then the last thing I think that he needs to do is to make sure that when you get a chance to hit a play, you don't miss. His accuracy is uncanny. I watched games all this week, football games. When you get a chance, in the words of Omar in The Wire, if you come for the king, you best not miss. Like an NFL coach's son didn't prank call yet. Facts. We forgot about that. We tried to ignore that. A whole NFL coach's son pranked him. That just goes to show you the level that we be on out here. Man, it's a lot of fraudulent grown men too. I can't believe it'd be grown men like that doing that. Sir Charles T. I don't think Kevin Stefanski can be successful with young possible Shedeur Sanders players. Baker got cocky, but that is on Kevin Stefanski. If Baker really saw Kevin Stefanski as a leader, Kevin Stefanski could have gotten through to him. Kevin Stefanski just gave up. You know what, Charles? Here's the thing about this, and thank you so much for the super chat. I always tell people that part of being a coach is not just about X's and O's. Part about being what a coach is communicating, motivating, leading, guiding, shaping, molding, building a relationship. And a lot of these people don't be understanding that it is key. A key part of building a relationship with somebody is to get the most out of them. They don't even get it. And to your point, when Baker was here, Kevin Stefanski could have did a much better job of establishing a relationship with Baker Mayfield. But this be the problem. Instead of working with what you got and doing what you need to do, you talking about, I want my guys. All new coaches fall into that trope. I want my quarterback. I want my quarterback. This quarterback isn't the guy I took. You fool. Your job is to get the most out of what's here. Make a meal. Sometimes the groceries in your refrigerator ain't exactly the groceries you want. It ain't exactly prime meat. The vegetables might be a few days old. But if you got some ingenuity and if you got a little love on it, you could make a mighty fine dish with some stuff that you, guess what, didn't pick. You ever see, my grandma used to go in the refrigerator and whip something up, and I was like, dang, When I went in there, it was just some eggs, some milk, a little piece of bread, right? A couple bags of cheese, some flour, and she turned that thing into a gourmet meal, working with what you got. And Kevin has shown he can't work what he got. How many quarterbacks look good? Couldn't work what he got with Deshaun Watson or DTR, or Jameis Winston. None of that. So he could be getting through to a lot of these dudes. And all you would need to do is this. Think about how Shedeur Sanders looked on the sideline when Andrew Berry came and talked to him against the Panthers. Think how he looked. He's like, man, you did good. All he wanted somebody to be like, hey, man, we believe in you. Hey, man, we feel like you could be a guy. Hey, man, listen, we really appreciate the work you're putting in. Can you imagine how hard he would work? Can you imagine? Because at the end of the day, the Browns are the team that drafted him. They took a chance on him. Remember, he said all the teams passed on me 5 times, but they took him. Can you imagine if they wrapped their arms around him and embraced what the possibilities could be? Be dangerous. Neil Gray. It's preps versus reps. Unlimited access versus international restrictions. 6 days versus 6 months. Practical theory versus critical thinking. Chess versus checkers. AB versus Kevin Stefanski. Neil Gray, that was beautiful. That's the thing that's scary. Think about this. I saw Flacco go out and do that level in about 10 days and ball for the Bengals. He hadn't been, Shedeur ain't received no reps. And in 6 days of getting those reps, you see what it looks like. The goal is this week to continue to get those reps and to continue to improve, to continue to add layers to your game. That's what we're looking for. So Charles T., Minnesota, he had vets that matured before him with different types of head coaches. Young people are learning who they are. Kevin should be a better leader and not Mr. Fence Rider. You mean he would actually have to have, you know what I mean? A coach should be a leader? See, Kevin Stefanski got the demeanor of a coordinator. He got the coordinator demeanor. He got the thing where he just want to be in the weeds on offense and call plays and create them, but that's not what the job is. I ain't saying you got to be Jimmy Johnson for the Cowboys. I'm not saying you got to be John Madden. I'm not saying that you have to be Denny Green. I ain't saying that you got to be Pete Carroll, those emotional, charismatic type leaders. But you got to talk to people. Yeah, like understanding young players is a big part of getting the most out of them. That's why I thought it was ridiculous when people would ask me, "Oh, you have sources?" I'm like, bro, if you identify with young people, what are you talking about? Of course. You think cats ain't gonna say stop. DK 128. Truth be told, they're mad because Prime went to Canton, Texas, and brought up all them folks land for his family. No, Sanders has to work, and here's another thing too. He said, Shedeur said that too. The way I grew up, he said, no, hold on. I grew up at a 30,000-foot home. I'm not saying that. We want to play football. We've always been blessed financially because of who my father was and what it was. But you bring up a point. You know, the most dangerous person in the world is a person that says, get off my lawn money. What that mean? When you got enough money and you got enough access and and who you are, you start figuring out about people real quick. You start feeling out about a person real quick when they got enough money that whatever your opinion of them don't matter. If you got more money than you ever gonna spend in your life, you're gonna find out real quick what people think about you. Because if you got an attitude, I don't got to deal with you. I'm cool. Don't like your boss at work? All right, then I'll catch y'all later. I ain't got no time for this arguing back and forth. I'm good. You're looking at people that want to argue with you on Twitter. I'm not arguing with nobody on Twitter, and I got the most money I've ever seen. We not even gonna get to that. So that's a threatening place to be when you are a person and you want to have a certain level of control over people, because at the end of the day, they look at you and you look at them like, oh, I don't need y'all to do nothing for me. I'm playing football. I'm playing football because I want to and for the love of the game, not because I got to. See, this ain't the little story where I'm trying to get my mom out the projects, or I'm the first generational athlete that went to college, or all my friends grew up on drugs or got shot or killed. Nah, this ain't that story. I've been straight. And if I don't play another game in my life today, I'm still going to be straight. That is very threatening to people, because you got get off my lawn money. I don't got to pay attention to what you talking about. Charles T. Good leaders in every profession know how to cultivate young talent, how to get through to all military, sports, or corporations. Young people need help. Kevin Stefanski fumbled Baker, might be fumbling Sanders. I actually think if he keep playing, Kevin Stefanski fumbled himself. Why do you think they can? Shedeur, could you put these rumors to bed? Just put everybody at ease and just say Kevin and you are kumbaya and everybody sees eye to eye and he's the best coach. I'm worried about the 49. See, that's the problem Kevin didn't see. Kevin, you fumbled yourself. You didn't have to do this. You could have hedged your bet. I always told him, hey, we got two young quarterbacks that the Cleveland Browns are excited about. I come to work every day excited about working with Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders because they're various skill sets, great human beings, work hard, and we lucky. Spoiled. We are lucky to have these guys here. How hard is that to say? I could have wrote it up for you, bro. And you wouldn't even have been here. Beautifully blessed. They hate Shedeur supporters more because we come with receipts and will defend them to no end. Nephew covered. I tried to tell him. I say, to a certain extent, they get off the lawn too. I said, what you guys don't understand, I'll be trying to let them know. There's a certain thing called collective identity, right? And I try to explain to people, let me know. I don't want to speak for everybody. Let me know if you can identify what I'm about to say. So when I grew up, my brothers is close. When I say close, if I go out to eat, right? I go out to eat. And my brothers don't have no, say for instance, they ain't payday or whatever. And if they ain't had no food to eat, then we all not going out to eat. That's today, right now. If I go sit down in a restaurant and my brothers ain't got no food or no money for food, then we all ain't sitting down. And if I got it, we all gonna eat because we was raised that way. You never sit nowhere and have a plate of food and your brother over here hungry. You never sit nowhere and you don't pull up at nowhere and buy no food and have people. My mom and dad, my grandparents, she used to feed the whole community. I used to think that they was rich because my grandfather would always invite so many people inside his house. And everybody got a plate. Kids from wide and far used to come. Wasn't nobody a stranger at his table. My grandfather always say, one thing you're going to realize is we going to eat. He was right. He worked in a factory his whole life, and he never turned nobody away. So we grew up in a way where, you was forced to have a sense of community. And if that's people you don't even know or strangers, what you think for your family members, right? And for a lot of people, the community raised us. Some people didn't have no mom, didn't have no dad. So it was Aunt Cindy or Aunt Velma or Aunt Barbara or Aunt, whoever is in your community. We all got them. We know folks that your Aunt Esther, she took care of 6, 7 kids, right? You got sister so-and-so or uncle so-and-so or reverend, they was always at the church, always doing something, always giving out something. And they was always looking for people, always looking out, because the community kept them together. It was the community. They didn't have moms and dads. They didn't have everything. So you had to have people that was pitching in here and there, giving this, giving that, giving this. So when I talk about collective identity, what you guys don't understand is they literally see him as their family members, which is tough. Because again, it goes back to the culture, the community. This is why the barbershop is pivotal, because I'm sitting here trying to kick game to you and let you understand. See, if you would just watch the barbershop and you would just watch it and internalize it, you would realize, oh, I'm learning about other people. I'm actually learning something. And you would get it because you would understand they don't just call him nephew or an uncles or aunties or that. That's in the culture. And for them, you don't let nobody talk about your family. If we in the street, maybe I'm tripping. If we in the street, 3,800 people in here, hit that like button. I'm preaching to some folks. If you in the streets and you leave the house with somebody, what's the rule? You left the house with somebody. When you come back, who you better come back with? If you know, you know. Put it in the chat. You don't leave the crib with your brother, your friend, your cousin, and then you come back home by yourself. What you talking about? Y'all left together, you better come back together. How many people know? If your friend in the wrong, if your brother in the wrong, you ain't gonna let him get jumped. You're gonna have to, I'll figure it out when I get back to the spot. Yeah, you was wrong for what you did, but I'm not gonna let you come in here and get the brakes beat off of you, because that's your brother, right? That's your people's. No, we're not doing that. If we sitting at a restaurant and you hungry and I got a pocket full of money, we all eating. That's bare minimum. That's bare minimum. I actually, look, there's rules to engagement. And so that's what I'm trying to explain to people, why it's like that and why it's nephew and this, because we've always dealt in the community. That's always been a signal. That's always been what it was. So that's it. And they mess with him outside of sports. As for me, I already said this. Shedeur Sanders, if he don't do nothing here, if he flames out, if he don't play, people say, well, you do all this content. What are you going to do? What are you going to do if he's not good or not this? I said, bro, my job is from week to week to talk about what's going on with the games. If he plays well, I'm going to say he played well. If he played bad, I'm going to tell him he played bad. But that ain't got nothing to do with why I resonate with him, because I believe I'm more into what he's doing for his people and his community more than anything. I don't care nothing about, listen, it's a football game. What you doing for your people outside of this? What you doing for disenfranchised? What you doing for these young kids? What you doing for single moms? That's what I respect. That's why when somebody, I said, shout out to Deshaun Watson for out there giving out stuff, doing community service. I don't care if you ain't the starting quarterback. I respect what you did for your people. But I'm just trying to let them know. I'm rambling. Don't let up, G. Bush, Kendall Campbell, 8539. Thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate you. Greg George, what's up, cousin? By the way, this is my real first cousin. This is my real first cousin. By the way, tune in on Sunday. 3 Island G. We about to get to it. Shout out for him sponsoring the show. We're going to get to it. We got the ad popping tomorrow. We'll put that out there. If you're in Florida, we'll let you know. Go out here and check that out. We'll be playing that tomorrow during the post-game show. So make sure you check that out. But this is literally my first cousin. So he know everything I just said is facts. If Shedeur is the answer at quarterback, then we could build an offensive line of receivers for the long term. I'm on the fence about wanting Stefanski gone now. If Stefanski was smart about it, he would be, man, I would be automatically embracing Shedeur. I'd be like, whoops, we about to put him in a position. Because guess what, Kevin? He had already took the playbook from you. You ain't getting that back. So you might as well go ahead and control these timeouts and that challenge flag, big dog. I'd have been a full 180. Listen, we rolling with Shedeur the rest of the season. It is what it is. If he was smart. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Happy Valley Farms, thank you so much for the super chat. That's that opportunity. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. But the cool thing about it is now you can see the acceleration process of what's going on, because now I do feel that he's going to be in a position to continue to learn, to continue to get all the reps, and to continue to progress from week to week as he's immersed into the game. And that energy level, what they're going to have with the team is crazy. I can't wait. By the way, you throw it in the chat. Put a happy face in the chat if you excited for this game coming up. You excited? Put a happy face in the chat. I'm excited. Listen, I ain't been, this last 2 years has been tough. I'm literally excited for once to go into these games because I think I could see something for the future. Deborah Banks, I'm a Pittsburgh fan and your content caught my attention immediately. I now tune into Cleveland games. That's the biggest compliment I can get. That's crazy. The fact that you are a Steelers fan and we are longtime rivals, and the fact that you've seen this content and then say, you know what, I'm going to watch the Browns. That's the biggest compliment I can get. So thank you so much, and I appreciate it. I'll continue to do what I can do and keep bringing it. Spanla. Shedeur is a biblical name for the Old Testament, founded in the book of Numbers, a Hebrew name with multiple interpretations, most commonly mean light of the Almighty or field of light. That is you done did your research on that. I believe in having biblical names. I too have a biblical name. My middle name, I shouldn't even tell people. I used to make it up like a story. It was like, I was like, I got a middle name that starts with E. They say everybody would try to guess it. And I'm like, Rumpelstiltskin, which is a twisted little story, by the way. Rumpelstiltskin is kind of creepy. You can't go around stealing people's babies and doing stuff. Come on, Rumpelstiltskin. But my middle name is Emmanuel, which means God is with us. Smooth STP. G. Bush Thanksgiving is over. You can... G. Bush Thanksgiving older, you can stop cooking now. Give me my apron. Christmas right around the corner. We got to keep cooking. We gonna stay cooking. Beautifully blessed. Nephew said he was going to bring him that juice. He told him. AB, he told him. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That quarterback in there, 26. I told you. The Ashanti mom, preach the Fraudski. nor anyone else in the staff attempted to correct the false rumors about Shedeur. It's not Shedeur's job to protect a coach who wouldn't even say his name until 2 weeks ago. There you go. Have at it. And by the way, I'm not going to keep arguing with you on these channels about it. No, I'm not going to argue. This is like, we're on to San Francisco. I'm worried about getting wins. His job is not to be out here being no meat shield for Kevin Stefanski catching darts because people is questioning his evaluation, questioning whether or not Kevin Stefanski should be the head coach. It's part of the game. Because they weren't correcting the record about Shedeur Sanders. When they was writing them articles, they was doing all kind of stuff. They didn't correct it. They still won't even name them quarterback the rest of the year. What are you talking about? What is there to correct? Greg Castellanos, G. Bush, how is it possible that Shedeur throws to open receivers that supposedly can't run routes and an O-line that is not good have their best games? 12 elevates, because here's the thing. You start to believe and you start to understand and people start to live a little bit. People start to, oh, okay, we nice. Oh, okay, that energy level. See, when you give an energy to people, it raises that play, right? And Shedeur, if you smart, which I think you are, because I think you did a nice job. You notice he didn't go after Jerry Jeudy when he dropped that football. You know what he did? He says, all right, we're going to need you, dog. You notice Myles Garrett was excited. Listen, Myles Garrett was so excited that Shedeur Sanders was playing. He came all the way out with his relationship. My wife was like, babe, who'd that girl Myles Garrett make out with? I said, I think that's his girlfriend. She said, he girlfriend at the game now? I said, yeah. Myles feeling good. Yeah, this girl, he taking pictures before the game. I'm like, yeah, that's how it be happening. He feels so good. He be like, yeah, I'm coming out with my whole relationship. Whole relationship. I'm like, this guy, people get mighty. Listen, people got celebrations now. So when did Dylan Sampson get celebration? When did offensive linemen start lifting people over the head like ballerinas? Greg Castellanos, let me show you. I keep it on me. I keep them. I say, when they start doing this, huh? When this energy level stop being like this, huh? This is like, hold me close, tiny dancer. What? You got this man over your head like a ballerina? Hold me close, tiny dancer. That's a whole grown man over his head. Like a ballerina. Bro, I can't even do that. Hey, grown married people can't even do that. Like you get a foul for that. You can't lift your wife over their head like this. This is not Patrick Swayze in Dirty Dancing. That stuff don't exist, bro. You be married for a whole 6 months. All that stuff stop. Like, hey, man, listen, I ain't gonna be lifting you up in the mall like that. Talk about, hey, yeah, this is what that's what that type energy do, right? That's what that energy be trying to do, Greg. They be excited. Damn Remo, thank you for being a member for 1 month. We appreciate you, my guy. T Storm, Shedeur is unbothered, eating turkey and studying the playbook, praying for Shedeur. I seen a little shout out to them. Shout out to Well Off Media, Shiloh, his mom. They cooked the spread up. Let me know if you watched it. I watched it. I watched it. People, I say, oh, look at y'all, man. I like that. I said, look, eating that turkey in that playbook with that iPad on. So word is after the Vegas game, Kevin Stefanski's reached out to Dion for a meetup for dinner, and Dion refused. I haven't heard that. I think that's Bianca. I haven't heard that. I'm gonna have to do some research on that. But Coach Prime be busy. He gotta get back. Gotta get back to it. It's in the middle of the season. You know what I'm saying? Maybe schedules don't line up like that. But I'm sure Prime, they'll get together in the off season. Get together. Fantel. G. Bush, if Jimmy Haslam didn't pick Shedeur Sanders, why was his daughter and grandkids wearing 12 jerseys? Make it make sense. Come on now. Because it's one of the most popular jerseys in the game. And they want to see him play. He definitely picked him all day and twice on Sunday. Brody's bottom line, G. Bush, that lottery ticket looking good. We got to wait till Wednesday. We got to wait till Sunday. Matter of fact, if you on Sunday, if you're pulling up, Matt, if you're watching, G. Bush, they done ran it back again. Live stream. We will be on during the show. If you are moving around, you don't got Sunday ticket, go ahead, keep us on in the background. We'll keep it pushing. We about to do it again. Shedeur Sanders is taking on San Francisco 49ers. Let's see if the Cleveland Browns can make it 2 in a row. Make sure you tune in. Starting at 12:45 on UCSS, we will be doing a live stream. Me, Earl the Pearl, Mikey McNuggets, Director Steve will be broadcasting and going through live during the game. And always we'll give you the post-game show as well. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you check it out. And that lottery ticket keeps getting more. That Powerball number keep going up and up and up and up. The more they get wins. Tristan Skywalker, thank you so much, brother, for the super chat. The media talked about 12's football acumen so bad that they would have had you thinking Shedeur was putting his helmet on backwards. Super facts. Super. And you know what the most disappointing part about it is? You notice, go back and look at the pre-draft analysis. And from all of your favorite beat reporters, how many of them thought, oh, he's a second-round pick, he's a first-round pick, the Browns should take him here? They'll talk about the accuracy, the maturity, the system that he played in. And then 4 or 5 weeks later, after he slid, it was like a whole different universe where he played in a one-read system, he was undisciplined, he wasn't accurate. His name on the back of the jersey. You're like, bro, this is what happened. And even today, people are hedging their bets. See, here's the thing. When you can't lean on your evaluation and when you don't understand what you have seen and you don't know, you guess. What I'm saying about Shedeur Sanders is not about like whether he's going to have ups or downs. What I'm talking about is a baseline level of skill set that has been sustained over a period of time since he was like 16. So when you are seeing that and you're like, okay, cool. And I see him progress and get here and be like, why are you guys confused? Why would you listen to this unsubstantiated stuff? But you realize that it's not based in the reality of what's going on. So that's why that you're blind by certain things. You're just guessing. That's why when people sitting around here talk about we still need to see Dylan Gabriel. No, we don't. No, maybe you need to see Dylan Gabriel. We don't need to see. The people that know football do not need to see none of that. The people that know football know he wasn't a top 100 player. No disrespect to Dylan Gabriel. I'm not disrespecting that man. But what I'm saying is when you say we need to see more, that means you don't understand what you're looking at. That means you don't have like an expert. Like if I hire an electrician and when an electrician come in and you say something's wrong, my switch don't work in this room, an electrician can go look at the socket, take it apart, unscrew it, go down to the breaker box and tell you exactly in about 15 minutes what's going on. But if you get a dude pretending, a jack of all trades, a person that just been around the block, not no certified electrician, so a handyman, he might be down there for an hour trying to do some trial and error, troubleshooting. When you get you a professional that could come in and see what we got going on today and be done had this little job done and finishing you go about your business. But that's the problem. A lot of people ain't got none of that. They don't know what they're looking at. So you might need to, what you mean you need to see Dylan? No, you don't. I could break down why he wasn't Nick to start with. I can tell you that right now, based on film work. Sean King said it. By the way, Joe Thomas, this is why I say, don't listen to little old me. Joe Thomas, I said, would you give him G. Bush? I gave him a B. He said, Shedeur Sanders got an opportunity. I give him an A. He got an opportunity to be a franchise quarterback, and he did excellent in this football game. I said, okay, Joe, say it louder. Don't listen to me, because when I tell you that, but what about this? Yeah, bring that narrative noise up with him. Bring up, why you never hear about what you heard when he say something? Where's that? I heard, I'm just saying. Stefanski could have put that to bed hundreds of times. He never did. I'm disappointed Bull forgot this. What you mean? It wasn't about forgetting it. It was about making that point. The point was, before 2 weeks ago, nobody was interested in putting anything to bed. It was, let's question leadership, let's question mindset, let's question skill set, let's question whether or not you're gonna your work ethic. We question a lot of that stuff. And it's funny because I've always said, you get on the field, all of a sudden, things switch up. Ashanti mom, Cleveland media is lazy and didn't do their own research. I'm gonna tell you what, that's not unique to Cleveland. It's not unique to Cleveland. It's unique to where we are as the media. And I know some people get your feathers ruffled because I call it out or say something, but no one is giving me no accurate rebuttal. There are a lot of people that are in the media that have big names that don't do anything. No names necessary. There are a lot of people that get to a point, they live off their name, they don't do any homework, they don't study anything. The producers give them the topics, they sit there, they give half-hearted answers, they don't break down no tape, they ain't watching no games, and they spend most of their time away from what they're doing in baseless opinions. That's just what it is. Why do you think the landscape is changing? People would rather hear from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Players is doing blogs. People on the internet is doing blogs, and they're doing it more entertaining than them other dudes. The game has shifted and moved. Doggy Bone, the haters, he's cocky and talks too much. Shaking my head. How dare you advocate for yourself after 6 months of everyone calling him everything but a child of God? It's mighty close to shut up and dribble. Also, he can't defend himself, or he can't say you guys were wrong about me. Sometimes people are offended that you won't let them get off what they're gonna get off. A lot of times it's not about whether they mad or not. It's just the fact that they don't like you calling them on it. You were wrong. Sharon Bozeman, thank you so much for the super chat. Desmond Johnson, if any more guys say Shedeur is a developmental quarterback when he keep it real in 2 games, Shedeur would look better than the quarterback in the class that just got reps. That developmental quarterback thing, red shirt thing, again, that goes to the thought process that you can, and Shedeur said this, the thought that I could sit there on the sideline and somehow by osmosis learn. Remember in the first Matrix where they used to have those things in those simulations where they would plug you in and they would download different things. So instead of having to learn Spanish, all you did is they jacked you up, plugged you up to the internet, and downloaded it on your brain. So now you knew fluent Spanish. You didn't have to know Taekwondo or karate. All you had to do is jack your brain in, put it on the internet. Now all of a sudden, in a download, you know Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu, you know how to make samurai swords. You just everybody. That is a narrative that comes from people who have not done it and don't understand that that's not the way sports works. You don't sit and watch somebody else and then all of a sudden you know it. It comes from repetition, practice, seeing different scenarios, and experience. So when people say he needed to take a redshirt year and he's not ready, no one's going to be ever ready if they don't play. But I thought it was keen and funny that if everybody could do it without reps, then why is Dylan getting reps then? If Dylan, it was always getting reps when Joe Flacco was here or always getting reps when Kenny Pickett was here, why is it that no one brings the point up that, well, guess what? Dylan Gabriel, despite being behind those two, got reps. But the backup never gets reps. No, sir. Dylan Gabriel has got reps since day one. Even in training camp, when it was practice. And you say, guys, now watch this. I'm just giving you the facts. If you tell me during the football season that the backup is not getting reps, this reps thing, the backup's not getting reps, right? That's cool if you guys want to say that. But what's your excuse when in practice and preseason and OTAs where you're not playing a game, they're not keeping score, it's not a competitive game where you're going to be judged, it is practice with the Browns, then why don't you get reps then? It don't count. Let me ask you this question. Why is it that you gave Tyler Huntley any reps and he didn't make the team? You gave him reps over Shedeur Sanders in practice and never made the team. He plays for the Ravens now. So you can't use, well, it's a game and we got to get everybody ready because you didn't do it in regular practice. When you didn't put him out there in the 2-minute warning, the excuse was we don't want to ruin him. What was the excuse in practice? Rookie minicamp. Stop, boy. R-Mac Dog. Sanders beat the 49ers post-game will be wild work. That post-game, matter of fact, check it out. We're going to go crazy. Reverend B.J. Nelson, you preaching nothing but the truth. May the blessing of God keep you covering my brother. We appreciate you. Larry Fournier says Zach Jackson is the only credible media member who I trust. I initially called Shedeur being the better quarterback than Dylan Gabriel since the summer camp. And you know what, Larry? It's so crazy. They wouldn't give him reps then. What was the excuse? Well, he's a 5th round pick. Yoshi Doshi. I made the comparison of Sanders, Judkins fan into the Tamil Kings before the first preseason games. How close do you think we are to success? Let me tell you this. Your best players are already rookies. Here's why I told people Andrew Berry with every win. First of all, let's understand this. I think Andrew Berry has already cemented himself as being here next year. The question is Kevin Stefanski. And the reason I say I think he's cemented himself is because of the fact that you look at his draft. Judkins and Fannin are your 2 best offensive players. They're rookies. If Shedeur Sanders is good and he turns out to be like he continues to play well, You already have Carson Schlesinger. Mason Graham looks like he played his best game. Malik Collins, he brought in as a free agent, leads defensive tackles with 6.5 sacks. Myles Garrett, who people said trade for picks, he's playing like the greatest defensive end we've ever seen. And Andrew Berry went back out and said, oh, no, we're not trading. You go, come on back in here. Devin Bush, who he signed, playing the best ball of his life. Come on now. Tyson Campbell. That move in the middle of the year looked crazy. He looked like a baller. This alone, when you got hit after hit after hit, and Carson Schlesinger's defensive rookie of the year, he may gonna be a Pro Bowler. When you got hit and then you hit on the quarterback, guess who's in charge? Because my stinking suspicion is this. I don't think Andrew Berry had any level of high control over what they was doing. The chief strategy officer, Paul DePodesta, who outlived Dorsey, was the dude pulling the strings in his analytical nature. And Kevin Stefanski actually had a level of power because he was the 2-time coach of the year. So I think Andrew Berry, if you ask yourself, was the third person on the totem pole. Did he have some say? Sure. But he came in on the hottest seat until they got all these rookies that started playing well. And Jimmy Haslam was like, hold on, who picked these? Oh, yeah. All right, Jim DePodesta, we good on that. We good on that. You get you a receiver, get you Cardell Tate, you get you some linemen. That's why this week is so pivotal, because you mean to tell me the 49ers is a real good team? You mean to tell me the Cleveland Browns, led by a bunch of rookies, can win a game against the 49ers? And the quarterback only been playing for like 2-3 weeks with rep? Come on. Come on now. That's hope. Emmanuel Johnson, hey, G, you see Shiloh's Thanksgiving video? LMA Bro saw Shedeur watching film and was like, Shedeur study on Thanksgiving, so Fancy don't get mad. I seen that too. Shiloh funny. Boy, you better get in that playbook. You know you got a quiz when you get back to the office. My man Floyd, Floyd Connor, G. Bush, the real OG. Let's go, Shedeur. We appreciate you being a member, my guy. Yoshi Doshi, I call you and Rosie the Killer Bees. Hey, can we get a shirt like that? Can we get a shirt called the Killer Bees? Speaking of shirts. Ooh. Speaking of the hoodie, I told you I was going to get them together. I told him the Kool-Aid Mafia is back. You see what it is? Yeah, we're going to have this on Sunday. We're going to have this. Shout out to Rosie B. I be telling her, I said, Rosie, get me together. She's like, I got you, no problem. We got this hoodie in black. We got this hoodie in gray. We got this hoodie in heather gray. We be out here moving. You can get you a little tumbler too. Sip your Kool-Aid. Wrist up. I told you we don't play around. We quick with it. Bring the Kool-Aid Mafia back. Let's go. Do you have the same agent? I mean, I don't got no agent. My agent is God. That's my agent. He the best agent too. And guess what? He cheap. He don't cost you nothing. All you got to do is believe. Browns need 24 or more points to beat the 49ers. I think about 27. Maybe need about 27. Alexander Gallant. Because Christian McCaffrey going to do his thing out there. Christian McCaffrey is a guy who is dynamic. This is not going to be no blowout. In terms of our defense making them look crazy. This is a very good game. It's going to be a good measuring rod. And the thing about what I be saying about Shedeur Sanders and different things like this is, bro, look, I understand, like, I'm not to a point where I don't understand There's going to be some ups and downs, right? Like he's a rookie. You playing a game of football, and these guys get paid too. But what I'm saying is we should be able to have a runway to evaluate this man's skill and not be on this game-to-game mental gymnastics. That ain't what it is. I just saw Dylan Gabriel play 6-7 games. Now the narrative is, oh, we game to game. We might go back to Dylan. If you don't get up out of here with that, I keep trying to tell people, if Shedeur Sanders played 6-7 games and he came out the game and had a concussion, and Dylan Gabriel came in and played a half and then a game where he won, there would be no talk of Shedeur Sanders getting back nowhere. And the hypocritical part about it is everybody knows that. Every single writer knows that. Every single beat reporter, every single fan knows if the things were switched, if the same resumes were switched, nobody would be talking about Shedeur Sanders. They would be saying he's a bust and he's never going to play in the league again. So I don't know why they be trying to act like they really are fair and open. They ain't fair and open. You know what it is. Disco drip. Bull expecting Shedeur to play the faithful slave for fans. He's discussing no way to hide unconscious bias. Don't know how you stomach those people. Here's the thing. You got an opinion. You have all the opinion you want. We all got them. My thing is, I'm going to tell you mine. Nope. It ain't his job. It is not the rookie quarterback's job to be worried about the coach's reputation. His job is to go out there and win football games. Stop moving the narrative based on what you want to talk about. I ain't got time to talk about his backwards hat, whether his dad came to the game, whether or not his fan base and what they saying. Bro, listen, I'm worried about these 49ers, and we all should probably be worried about them too. I ain't worried about saving nobody's honor. When the ball was in his court, what did he say? I'm worried about today. That's the same thing Shedeur should have said. I'm worried about today and get my team a win. Moving right along. Confession, I'm a 50-year-old Niner fan, but I want nephew to do great. Reverend BJ Nelson, we appreciate you. We appreciate you. Ain't no confession. You good. By the way, it's okay to root for who you root for. It's okay. I tell people all the time. Trey Stargell. The thing I like about Tommy Rees said is that Shedeur pointed out on film, he should have stayed in the pocket on some plays and bailed too early on others. I like that. I like the fact that he's coaching them. That, the crazy part about it is that they try to act like the dude's not coachable. Like the dude don't take any critical comments, that he don't do any constructive criticism. His father coaches him hard. His father always coached him hard. He's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. It's about getting better. But some people is like, oh, there's a perception that he's not coachable. Come on, man. He don't know everything. He's not infallible. He can make mistakes. He made a mistake last game. It's okay. Miss Melanated. It pains me when people, my people, blacks that are journalists, just don't get it. They refuse to accept sabotage or collusion. If you want to live in a world and believe that everything is peachy keen and everybody has the best intentions, I don't know what to tell you, because you're not living in the same world that I'm living in. The fact that you don't think journalists can have a bias. Come on, man. People have ego too. There are lots of people who use the way athletes treat them in their career, and they use that against them when it comes to Hall of Fame voting. Some people, I'm not going to vote for him because he snubbed me. He didn't give me an interview. I didn't like the way he handled himself off the field. I didn't like the way he was flashy. I didn't like the way he did this. I didn't like this. I didn't like that. And I always be asking people, where did we get to a point where we started valuing the opinion of people that Ain't never done it. And I'm not killing all journalists. There's some great Hall of Fame journalists out there. There's some great people that write, and writing is a skill. And I'm not sitting here telling you that the journalism field is dead or people is all of them are bad people. What I am saying is it's very naive to think that everybody is great. There's going to be a couple of people here and there that are biased, that use their platforms as a bully pulpit. They use their platforms to spew bias and frankly, a level of hate and level of ignorance. But there's also some great ones that push the conversation forward. But it's disingenuous to run around and think that everybody is virtuous because they're in the same industry as you. Stop. That's why all hosts ain't. What do you mean? It cracks me up. Sharon Bozer, hello, G. Bush. I'm back 1 month ago. Sean Keegan gave the roadmap. Yep, he did. We told him the roadmap. See, we've been going back and forth. This is the way we build it over here. I've been telling them that, like, I've been showing you the path. I ain't been wrong. We've been step by step talking about what it is. And so now we're here to a point where now a lot of people is caught off guard by being, well, how did we get here? I mean, he was 4th on the depth chart. I mean, what everything we said, it was Pickett and Dylan Gabriel was the supercomputer. And now, because now you got to continue to find reasons why you weren't wrong. It's okay to say you were wrong. Look, can somebody tell me this? Why is it easy for me to say when Carson Schlesinger came out of college, I didn't know who he was? And when they picked him in the 2nd round, I said, who the heck is this? What kind of pick is this? And I said, you picked the linebacker here? But when I saw him play in practice, I went back and evaluated and watched the tape. I then took a look what he was doing. And I said, you know what? I was wrong about him. This dude is a beast. In real life right now, he's a monster. How is it that I could come out and comfortably say, you know what? I had it wrong about him. This dude is a baller. How come how come I can do that? But you get information on other people, you get information, and you just can't simply say, you know what? He got a lot more than I thought. He a little more athletic than I seen. You know what? Them throws in the game time is different. I'll give him credit. He worked on this, that. If you are a human being and you are a thinking, sentient being, the reason we are the top of the food chain is because humans can think critically. We're not driven by nature. We're not driven by animal instincts. We think we can understand and we can rationalize. So why would you get new information and new proof and new stuff, but you so ignorant that you refuse to change your mindset? If I see somebody jump off a roof and I don't know gravity from nothing, I might not even know what the technical term for gravity is. But all I know is I saw somebody jump off a building and it didn't end well. So am I going to go up there and jump off? No. I'm going to take that information and say, note to self, that ain't a good idea. Even if I don't know what the term is for it, I can see it. I can understand it. Makes no sense to me. Hit that like button. Over 2,300 folks in here. Hit that like button. Come on now. We appreciate you. Bracy the GOAT 12 said, don't draft me if you don't want to change that organization to be changed. AB drafted him, so get your popcorn ready. You got to believe. And it take a little faith to step out there and say, look, man, if I don't play well today, they're going to try to get me up out of here. It's different to come out and be like, yeah, I knew that. Let's cook. Yoshi Doshi, if I could ask Sanders a question, it would be, how Tommy Reese has impacted his development during his journey as an NFL quarterback, or that growth together, that growth as both of them continue. He's third game or fourth game, third game. I think it's 4 now for Tommy Reese, and it's for Shedeur Sanders. You know, what concepts has he brought? What kind of collaboration do you guys have? That's the question I want to ask. But then again, Yoshi Joshi, that would be that you interested in what's going on in the film. All right, you would be interested in like how that affects his game. A lot of people ain't into the game. Ben Scott, Aquarius is dawning. G, we are awakening. We waking up. Shout out to Stanley Kubrick, the Star Child. Man, if you know, you know. I mean, if you watch that, did you know there's a sequel to that? There's a sequel. I randomly seen it. It was crazy. They brought Hal back and everything. Hal came back. They had the Star Child ghost that disappeared. It was wild. Let me know if you've seen it. Willis Giggers. Good morning, G. Listening to you has me thinking how to win in my business life. G&G Building and Renovations, LLC, Memphis, Tennessee. Thanks. Now, that is marketing. You see what he did right there? Take a look at my man. Google him, G&G Building and Renovations. See? He's a smart man. He understands. He understands the game. Bracy the GOAT, you got to believe. We appreciate the super chat. Life of TB. You watch Shiloh new vlog, studying his plays during Thanksgiving dinner, all the funny Browns and Stefanski jokes, 12 emphasize how important winning is. The cool thing about them is I like their sense of humor. And they don't take things too crazy. They don't take things too serious. Joint JD MBA, to your point about coaching, what did Parcells do in Dallas when he didn't have a quarterback? He created Tony Romo. Kevin Stefanski needs to follow AB and realize Shedeur is a job saver. If he was smart, he'd have got that from Jump Street. But even if he didn't get it, and you pick Dylan Gabriel, man, I'm pivoting like crazy. I'm riding the wave. I'm going to put, and to be truthful, think about it like this. If they're invested in him, it does you, if you got all these quarterbacks, right? And you want to get you one and ain't one better than what he got right now. He's a 5th round pick. You can put all the infrastructure around him for a year and give it a whole year runway to see if he's the dude. And just roll with that. And then if he ain't it, you can always say, listen, we ran with it as most as we could. We did exactly what we needed to do. We tried. We gave it a year, didn't work. But I'm riding the wave for at least a year, bro. You crazy. Simply Stephanie. G. Bush, that video, Shedeur and Barry hugging, reminded me of the movie Jerry Maguire after the game. I love that. Show me the money. Hey, listen, it did remind me of that. They was like, all you got to do is watch it and see exactly how people move, and they'll tell you what the play is. Why every time he be playing, they're gonna find AB looking around. What's up, Shedeur? What's up? Our Revs guess. What you see referencing is the Ubuntu philosophy. I am because we are. That is a Black culture and a Black community. There's a lot of that. I like how you got very surgical with that. Even if I didn't even know about that philosophy, that's the crazy thing about it. Like, I didn't know the actual name for it, but that's crazy because you can feel it. You know what I'm saying? That's why, have you already noticed we be walking down the street and be like, Hey, what's up, brother? We be doing that, right? What's up? You just, that silent nod. Oh, I see you. I see you. You see what I'm saying? Gregory George, we have to get Bill Callahan back at all costs. I dare. I don't care if it make his son the head coach. I think you'll be able to get him back. You know what I thought? I asked Zach Jackson a question, and I don't know if you guys caught this, but Zach Jackson was talking about, I say, yo, what do you think about Jim Schwartz? Because every time I bring up that question about Jim Schwartz possibly being a name, everybody in the industry says, oh, he's done. They're not going to do that. And he, for the first time, he said Jim Schwartz would be under heavy consideration because of the way that the defense plays and the way that he continues to get those guys to play hard. He's the first person I think said that. Right? Irvin David, thank you so much for the super chat. Big time Eagles fan, but love Shedeur and 12. Hope the Browns build around him. 12 is fire. Brown 12, fire Stefanski and get a coach who will put team first. L. Skeletor Gore, we appreciate you. Shout out to Skeletor. His henchmen always foil his plans. Skeletor has to get better help. I mean, think about Dr. Claw's help is terrible. Skeletor's help is terrible. Mumra's help is incompetent. Where are they getting? Why are you going to LinkedIn? What LinkedIn profile are you getting this help from? And I never quite understood it. Why would can somebody tell me this too? Why would any evildoer in cartoons, why do they need money? Why would you rob a bank? Obviously, you're evildoers. You probably can take what you want. Is it too hard? Or like, I'm going to rob a bank and get this money as an evildoer, and then you're going to be lawful and pay for meals and actually purchase things? Why wouldn't you just take it with your evil? I don't know. Maybe I just think a little bit too much. Doggy Bone. Shedeur Brett for this. He said something to his teammate before going on the field. I believe in you, so believe in me. I follow God, so follow me. Don't quote me directly, but that was tough. And he said in the press conference, they believe in me. That's a lot of it. Belief in your teammates is what football and sports is about. The belief that the bond that you created through hard work, through discipline, through disappointment, through triumph, will help you come and galvanize at a certain period of time to help you come and win as a team. Irvin David B. Browns could have been like the Bears this season with money at the helm. Defense is #1 best in the league, and we would keep all games in a winnable position. But Kevin Stefanski's pride becomes before a man's fall. There's more and more people who start to think of like that, especially if you start to get wins against the 49ers and the Titans and some of these other teams that may be winnable. I ain't going to talk about the Bills. Don't let them be competitive against the Bills. People are going to be mad because they can say, well, bro, we could have been doing this the whole time. Beautifully blessed. Are you guys going to a game? I want to meet you all. You know what? At UCSS, we do have a McNuggets does some things at the Muni lot. And I wouldn't be opposed. Y'all let me know if y'all would pull up. You let me know if you would pull up. If enough people say they would pull up, I might go to the Muni lot and do something. We did that not this last year, maybe the year before. I'm not opposed to it. Asama. Texas Tech coach, Baylor coach, and Sean Payton all said that he's going to be a problem in the league. If he keep dropping dimes like that on no practice time, you're going to be in trouble. Jersey 8288. Why the media allowed Albert to continue to be so negative about 12? I need the media to push back to the narrative because it should be investigated. Listen, it's the first time that I actually literally mentioned his name, but the clip was so inflammatory. And let me get this straight. So the way I understand, Ken played the clip, and he disagreed with the clip. It wasn't, that clip didn't happen, like they weren't interviewing Albert and then Ken was sitting there and didn't say nothing. He played the clip from another interview and Ken said he didn't like it. So Ken, he played the clip from another interview. But what he said was so inflammatory, it was wild work. I said, bro, how you gonna sit there and say, I mean, these dudes got a film company. They own a film company. They film his whole life. He's on reality shows. This is easily verifiable that this dude is on the team bus. What are you talking about? That type of stuff is it's irritating, man. Because it's a quick 5-minute check and see. And that's why for me, I try not to say things that might not necessarily be true, or if I got to figure it out, or because I got a lot of people who listen to this stuff. And if I say something, it could really go a certain different way. So I got to be careful about what I'm saying or repeating, because people gonna hear it and be like, oh, well, G. Bush said this and G. Bush said that. Nah, bro. I'm like, come on, man. How you gonna try to make up like this dude was as prime D? Here's the thing, too. That comes from a little bit of the situation. Go watch Coach Prime's documentary. Watch how many people was upset that Coach Prime tried to play a football game and a baseball game. Yeah, there's like, yeah, G. Bush, he was like, man. I'm like, man, we gotta get that water. Look how many people was mad at Coach Prime because he was in a football game and a baseball game in one day. They called it selfish. They called it arrogant. They called it doing too much. How many people around in baseball communities and football? In the baseball team, it was crazy. They didn't let him play. He didn't even play in that game because they were salty at the fact that who do you think you are? Jean A. Marchant. Keep cooking. AM hungry, bro. I appreciate you. G, I tried to support your collab with Quincy, my guy, but it feels like his channel feeds the hate. The comments be going crazy. I had to dip. Booch Wyatt. When I go on there and I look at it, and they ask about the situation with Shedeur Sanders, I don't understand. I simply don't understand it. Actually, I do understand it. Let me stop saying that. I do understand it. Actually, I understand it intimately. When you have this thing, or you have a fixation on us versus them, it's a very powerful thing. It's a very powerful thing. I don't got a problem with nobody. But what I always say is, it comes down to the film. It comes down to plan. It comes down. And what you started to find out is, even as he continues to play well, there's this invisible pushback. It's this invisible need to diminish, the invisible need to bring up certain things that would never be brought up. And it's easy to see. Like, we talk about the backwards hat. We talk about whether or not why his supporters are doing what he's doing. We talk about people asking about is your father a distraction. We talk about all these different things that would never be brought up in another situation with another player. And so when you bring those things up and you say, listen, man, after a certain period of time, people is not going to hear that. There's a level of people who expect people to bow down. Let me just tell y'all something. Your regular people aren't going to steer. Why would you be regular? Like, you guys don't, there's a perception of, there's a group of people that control the narrative of what it is to be a Cleveland Browns fan. You don't. Everybody brings their own energy to the table. They felt like these folks that came over here had to audition for Browns fans. They're not auditioning for Browns fans. And if you're a real Browns fan, you want the Browns to be good, ask yourself, why do you have so much pushback? Why do I give a you-know-what about what a New York Giants coach said about the quarterback that we got? Why? Ask yourself that. Why do you care about anonymous narrative-based content about things that you don't know or somebody said anonymously on another organization that roots for another team? Ask yourself why you're invested in that. And even after you start playing, even after he's playing right now, you're still invested in the tropes that somebody else created. You're still invested in who, like, no one care. I don't care who supports Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or Tim Tebow or Colin I don't care nothing about that. That's great if it works. If you feel that way, you feel that way. Everybody liked Michael Jordan, right? There was all people over across, people like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, people like Kareem, people like LeBron James, people like Kobe. You got a monopoly on who people stop. Cash Money, ticket prices was $6 with DG starting. If they hate Shedeur, they still have the respect that we put butts in the orange seats. 4.6 million TV views. If you know, you know. Might get to be kind of crazy. G, why does this media in Cleveland not believe no one will take this job if Kevin is fired? That's crazy. Head coaching jobs, 1 of 32. Of course somebody would take it because it's backwards rationale and thought process. People always, let me tell you this. I forget somebody can tell me. There's a term that is called, people overestimate their worth all the time. People overestimate how important they are. Like, this is true. Life goes on. If you have an untimely passing, people may say, oh, well, G. Bush was influential. G. Bush was, he was a pioneer. Some people say G. Bush was the best. Some people say I can't stand G. Bush. Either way, you'll do the funeral. People will remember you. They'll do some posts. But the general nature of life is, in 5 or 10 years, those memories fade, right? What you've done today is not going to make imprints forever. So everybody has this inflated self, like worth and sense of who they are and how important they are. And some people are like, I don't take myself that seriously to think that you're irreplaceable. You're not. Time will go on. Life will go on. It's hundreds of people that have lived and died. This universe is billions of years old. There's a couple of people that split time. Oh, just one. His name was Jesus. So he's sort of a big deal. Other than that, you live your life, you do the best you can. But if you're thinking like it's 1 of 32 jobs, somebody somewhere is looking around talking about, listen, I guarantee I could turn it around. I know I could turn it around. Give me that job. Give me the opportunity. Why you feel like, come on, man, he'll get a job tomorrow. Good for him. I hope you get a job and stay gainfully employed. You ain't got to do it here. Lamina 566. The biggest disappointment for me about this season is my belief in the internal politics in the Browns organization have resulted in having another season where my team doesn't make the playoffs. You'll be surprised how internal politics always rears ugly head. There's always going to be factions. There are always going to be people who do that. And unfortunately, these same people try to tell us that it didn't matter. The Browns were trying to lose. You're trying, what? What? That is not the goal. KA7 14 super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Cash Money 126 became a member. We appreciate you. Saying so. Judy and DG to Miami for Waddle would be nice. I would take that. Saying so. Is that do you know something I don't? Because I already pulled the trigger on that one. Let's come on over here. Mashako, Baltimore. Shedeur is going to bring his brother Shiloh to the Browns once they get the keys and some Colorado players. Remember, that was funny what he said. He's like, yeah, I can't get the hungry dogs on yet. I ain't got the juice like that. Mikey Moore, thank you so much for the super chat. Do you think Dylan is getting first team reps? No. You know, first team reps now. Nope. Willis Giggers, 27 points in the snow to win. Hey, look, man, Christian McCaffrey, you know, I think he's a ball player. You have to do some things. I think, by the way, we'll get a couple turnovers. I think Myles Garrett going to get a strip sack, and I think there's going to be a couple of picks. That going to lead to some stuff. Remember, they got 31 points, I believe, in the terrible rain against the Dolphins, and that's because Tua was garbage, and he threw a pick six. Keisha Stephanie, I'm new here. What's the Kool-Aid Mafia? So you know how we always do. You know, a couple of years ago, we started a thing called the Kool-Aid Mafia in 2023. There was a term everybody says that we drinking the Kool-Aid. And, you know, when Joe Flacco got there, a bunch of people in the industry said, what they getting Joe Flacco for? This is after, I believe, Deshaun Watson got hurt. PJ Walker played a couple of games. Browns defense was stellar. And they started the season with Deshaun Watson. I think they was 1-6. I think they was no, that was the year prior. They had a winning record, but they weren't playing well. Deshaun Watson gets hurt, and all of a sudden, people are like, oh, well, Joe Flacco will come in for a little bit. I said, bro, I'm drinking a Kool-Aid on that. I'm drinking a Kool-Aid. As a matter of fact, I'm all in on that. Matter of fact, he's going to throw for 300. So he comes in, he throws for 300. They end up winning a game. A lot of games, they won a game against the 49ers, ironically, which was a nasty game. The 49ers were great that year. And so the Browns ended up making the playoffs with 4 or 5 different quarterbacks, the best defense in the league. They ended up losing to the Texans. But during that winning streak to get there, I came up with something called the Kool-Aid Mafia. And so basically, Browns fans use that as a way to say, yo, listen, we down, but we not out, and we believe in. So during this run, Joe Flacco ended up throwing for like 300 yards, like 5 straight weeks, and the Cleveland Browns miraculously made the playoffs. So from that point on, the Kool-Aid Mafia blew up. People everywhere. Actually, to be truthful, we sold so many T-shirts, it was crazy, because week after week, I would go on UCSS and be like, oh, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. We win in this day. Like, come on, G. Bush, bro, you can't pick the Browns to win. And they would come in and win. And I'm like, this is crazy. So that was what the Kool-Aid Mafia is. So basically, last year happened, and the Kool-Aid Mafia people thought died because the Browns were 3-something. And I couldn't even muster no Kool-Aid, nothing up. Right? I said, bro, I can't do it. I ain't got no hope. This is terrible. This ain't working. This is nasty work. These dudes about to get fired. Until I said, oh no, Shedeur gonna play. And not only is the Kool-Aid Mafia back, we combine powers. So now the Kool-Aid Mafia has now joined with Wrist Up. You see what it is. It's double whammy now. So if I was already drinking the Kool-Aid and I got the Wrist Up, you already know what my hope level is. Browns over the 49ers all day. And that is a backstory to the Kool-Aid Mafia. Thank you so much for asking. Cash Money 126. I know I'm late, but I'm here for the content. I appreciate you, my guy. Phyllis Smith. G. Bush, did Kevin try to have dinner with Coach Prime and Prime told him no? Somebody asked that earlier. I got to do some research on that. Look, in Prime's defense, he had to get back to Colorado. You know, he coaching during the season. It was a time conflict. No one man should have all this power. I love it. I love it, man. Appreciate the super chat. Sandy's Chance. Your co-hosts call us silly and delusional. Okay, bet. Hey, delusion never looks so good, especially coming from the 49ers game. That delusion. Sometimes you got to have a rational faith. I'm improving your life. Your boys wanted to take Zappy to win on their life. They tried that. You notice we ain't heard his name no more. Jab 9237. Kevin Stefanski been failing Shedeur from day one. It wasn't just the game ball. It was a refusal to acknowledge the achievement, the firm to Kevin Stefanski that does not want Shedeur to shine. Now we're looking at TDs and a 29-yard punt, etc. And you know what I said about this? I was doing this on Ultimate Browns. I said this. I said, listen, guys. Sometimes they're not going to give you no game ball. We knew what it was. We ain't got to say it to say it. Come on, bro. We ain't looking at him. We looking past him. This is opportunity. We looking at trying to be a franchise quarterback and win this Super Bowl. Shedeur did exactly what he was supposed to. Listen, it's a game ball. He can give the game ball to whoever he want to. Shout out to them. But as for us, I'm unbothered by it because the biggest game ball they could have gave was the fact that the reporter asked Shedeur Sanders to call off the dogs. Call it off. It was a fact. I said, oh, that's the real game ball. You think you got that type of leverage? Huh? You need that favor? Shanita. Kevin and the media is the reason for Shedeur versus Dylan narrative, not the fans by trying to bury Shedeur. We respect Dylan chasing his dreams, just not at the expense of Shedeur fulfilling his. Shedeur is him. Let's ride. I love what you said right there, because a lot of what be happening is you build up and they act like they don't understand it. You call one dude a supercomputer, then you say the other dude don't know how to read defenses. You say one dude is mature. You say the other dude needs to grow up. You say one dude gets the leash and he gonna get 6 games, but the other dude get 1 game or a half and he ain't no good. Like, the fact that you guys think that we don't understand or not seeing that is crazy work. It's the juxtaposition between two things. You're insinuating that Shedeur Sanders being behind Dylan Gabriel is making Dylan Gabriel react a certain way, so then Shedeur got to go. Or, you know what, Dylan Gabriel can be a backup quarterback for the Browns, but Shedeur Sanders, no, I don't think you can have him on the team if he's not the starter. It'd be like stuff like that. You're like, come on, bro. What kind of, no. Just a girl. I can't say definitively that Kevin was trying to sabotage well, but I can actually say that he did not put him in the best position for success. Exactly. We can't definitively say on record that Kevin Stefanski hates Shedeur Sanders, but can we all come to the conclusion that he wasn't his pick and he didn't put him in the best position to continue to thrive? Of course. DeAndre Black, if Sanders is balling, and you a game out of the playoffs at the end of the home with that defense is a fireable offense for Kevin. You'll start to see that more and more often if he continues to win, because they're going to start to come back and say, why wasn't he playing? Meshach of Baltimore. Shout out to Carr brothers. They've been showing love to 12. They have. They've been doing some things. They've been showing love. Sandy Lynn Patton. Big up G. Bush. Much love and respect. Jamaica Auntie here. Shout out to Kingston. Montego Bay. Shout out to the Grill. A beautiful island. Beautiful people. Food is crazy. I've been there before. Some of the best food I had. Father of many nations. Shedeur reminds me of David in the cave of Adullam, running away from Saul, stuck with a bunch of men destined to fail, came out with 400 mighty men. 2 Samuel for reference. He out here now. He's actually preaching. He's actually preaching. Nita, my perspective, Shedeur, not a 5th round pick. He got picked on day 3. You know what? That make the story more potent. Wasn't given nothing. That's what people got to realize. If he earned it, he earned it. You can't even hate on that. Sandy's chance. Coach Prime watched his son's first NFL start from the opposing team's owner's box. Oh, that 30 for 30 is going to be good. Shout out to Tom Brady. You know him and Tom is cool. By the way, did you see what the former coach of the Raiders said? He said he would have definitely took him. He said there was no chance that Shedeur Sanders would have been in the 5th round. He would have took him. Antonio Pierce said that. Kirk _IRL. Jerry Judy got to redeem himself this year. Jerry Judy, if you're listening, big dog, let me talk to you. Help your team out. I need you to make a catch today. Derwin Brandon, thank you so much, my guy, for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. Aretha Barnes, if they beat the Niners tomorrow, Jimmy should fire Kevin Stefanski before he get off the field. I need somebody to ask him, Kevin, so what? Why was this dude not playing? Sandy's chance, the audacity of white sports media to tell black people, including an ex-NFL player, that their racism antenna is off. Sandy, sometimes you got to be aware. You got to be aware out here. Understand? Keisha Stephanie, I'm in. Where can I get that doggone sweatshirt? Can we throw it in there? You can put a link in there. We'll put a link in the description if you want to cop that sweatshirt, and we'll put it in our chat if you want to get it. They got cups and all kind of other stuff, by the way. It ships right to your house. You get confirmation and everything. Make sure you hit it. Shout out to the Kool-Aid Mafia. We appreciate you. Man, we went a little over. 12:27, you got an opportunity to leave a little bit. Go catch Ohio State, Michigan. We appreciate you guys for pulling up on us. We did a lot of super chats today. Make sure you check us out. We got one more. We always get it. KCM, I love that the lineman picture of lifting Shedeur Sanders out reminds me of Simba and Rafiki. It is time. Speaking of, we're going to end on that note. That's funny. The circle of life. Listen, these dudes, they got celebrations. This is wild work. You got that man above your head like that. Look at, hey, and this is why it's different. With that being said, you never know where G. Bush might show up. Radio, television, internet, but you want the fresh cut on sports, you know what I'm going to bring. You know what we got to. Make sure you check us out 12:45 right here on the UCSS network. We got the post-game show coming here, the live show coming up. Me, Mikey McNuggets, Earl the Pearl, we going to get it in, and we going to be hoping for a win. If we get that win, we going to be lit. I know I'll be talking crazy. And you know what? Sometimes I'll be mad at them. But I'm going to tell you, it's always, as we talk about, it's Go Brown. Have a good rest of your weekend. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.